So after the move of this third candle, we should have some sort of correction, a little bit of a pullback. I mean, it could be down to the base of the last one or something like that, or in the middle. But we should have a little bit of a pullback before it continues. But at the same time, oftentimes, actually, we got to be careful with those three white shoulders near tops, because sometimes they're just printing those there to fool people. But
Hmm.
yeah, it looks strong. It looks really strong.
Yeah,
That
it looks
monthly
really
candle,
strong.
for example.
Honestly, yeah, it looks extreme. I mean, like the move has been just insane. And obviously, Bitcoin's kind of reflected some of that bullishness, not to the degree though that like the Nasdaq is bullish, but I think again they move in tandem, which is why I like to pay attention to both. Oh,
Tell me you don't tell me you don't love Bitcoin on the daily, getting out of the cloud for the first time
oh my
since
God, dude, I saw that and I was like, hell
October.
yes, yes, dude. Like I love seeing that. I'm not convinced we're bullish yet until we get out of that like 83,000 zone, like we you and I talked about before, but. Like I absolutely love that we're out right now. It's great.
Why
Hmm.
would you say? Why would you say out? Because I think we still closed in it. We
Well,
just wicked.
we're like we're yeah like well we poked out. That's what I meant to say.
We
I haven't drank my coffee yet. We
poked our head
poked
out.
out. Yeah, we poked our head out, and
Yeah.
it was really nice to see that.
So there we go.
It's just a tip.
While we
Just a tip.
just the tip.
Just a tip. Yeah, Bitcoin is
I
giving us just.
promise.
We should title the stream that Bitcoin giving us just a tip.
Just the tip. Well, we've got our first comment for the day. Good morning, everybody. We're going live right now. We've got Renee here. Good morning, Renee. So we're looking at Bitcoin pushing through the Ichimoku cloud. And we do have Will and Joe trading live with us. And currently, Joe is sharing his screen. We're looking at the Ichimoku cloud for Bitcoin on the weekly and now on the 1 hour time frame. So, Joe, what are you seeing, my friend?
Well, I posted an update yesterday on the weekly. It is pretty straightforward. Kind of wants to the Tenkan and the Kijun got flat out here, so you have pretty well straightforward and defined support and resistance. So there's absolutely nothing to think about here or overthink or overcomplicate. I mean, if we are able to stay above the Kijun, the Tenkan here, then price is going to attempt to touch the Kijun. So that can happen in two ways. Either it keeps pushing upwards towards that level, or the other option is that it moves a little bit sideways until the Kijun starts to go down. Then it can tap somewhere between those that range and then find balance. So that's a bullish case for the price to go upwards a little or a lot to 88.90. The bearish option would be the price just failing this move and closing again below that Tenkan. So if we close again below that Tenkan, it will be obviously a failure and will likely, I mean, revisit like we have this slope here. So we
Hmm.
obviously try to revisit either previous lows or even lower if the bird trend continues. So there are a couple aspects here on the weekly that I like. I like that the Kumo is getting flat too. It's been flat for a long time on the SSAB, on the SSAA. It's getting flat on the B1 too, so that's great because that denotes simply balance. Or at least Bitcoin staying within a range, which is what I expect. For a very long time, the area between actually 2024, it's the first time I said we should revisit and stay around 64. So I'm happy to see that happening over the past probably 10 weeks or so. So yeah, I mean, like I said, it's just letting the price flow and do its thing. So that's the view I have right now on the weekly. If we go to the daily, so we have great signs too, according to Ichimoku. I'm not talking about waves and particles theory here. So the Kumo here is green. It's getting wider. That's always a great sign. We still have the Tenkan and the Kijun. They cross bullish. They're still inside the Kumo, and the Chiku is also inside the Kumo. So as you know, a four-tier bull signs for a trend on this time frame, the daily would be the cloud getting greener, pointing upwards, the Tenkan and the
Hmm.
Kijun out to the price out, and last one usually is a Chiku. Once the Chiku gets out, it will be a full blown impulse on the daily. But there's still a little bit of time before that happens. You can see how far the Chiku is from at least the right edge of the cloud. So, I mean, if we get more chop, it'll take some time. If we push hard and break this level, so it'll be great. A quick note here is that when the for people who love to learn about Ichi is that when the cloud is flat, that denotes a very strong level. So that means price is building up that level to be a strong resistance. Right now it is sitting at 80K. So if the Chico by any chance breaks that and finds supports there, then you know that's a very strong indication of strength for the price action. So we've been basically moving sideways for the past day or so on the 4 hour. Still nothing here that constitutes a red flag. I mean, it's okay. It's in balance. It's moving sideways. Chico is far from the price. The cloud is green. And if we go to the 1 hour, is when things get a little bit more like concerning. But still, I mean, cloud is green. We have this very sticky cross. So what I would do is just like keep in mind a very clean invalidation for a bull trend. We have the Kumo there. So if we start, is the opposite to what we saw on the daily. So if we break the price and the Kijun goes down and the Tenkan goes down and the Chiku breaks the Kumo, that probably means that this move might be over and we're going to start a deeper correction. So for now and for today's session, I would say definitely a 73 is a price to pay attention to. So yeah, that's it.
I'm also
How
looking
did I
at
do?
73. Funny enough,
Oh, which
even
one?
on the lower time frames, the 1 minute and the 3 minute, it kind of tells me that that's where you want to try and trade this thing. And I think the US Open might be pushing us to that level. So I like the confluence around that.
Pushing us to 73.
Yes, yeah. The
Let me see.
ideal price would be 72,967 is where I think the liquidity sweep is going to be for Bitcoin on the lower time frame, the minuscule time frame, if you would say it like that.
Yeah, let me see. Yeah, that will be pushing on the 4 hour. We have a support of the Kijun 73 200. So yeah, we can definitely push down towards the Kuma at 72 300 and still bounce bullish from the Kuma. But that would be, I would get a little bit cautious. I mean, in terms of the overall daily trend, I would get a little bit cautious if we start messing with the Kumo, because obviously that's gonna tell us that there's some weakness on the price action, some weakness that we haven't had uh, since a week ago or almost 2 weeks ago. So yeah, those are
But
definitely the levels to pay attention to.
when you talk about weakness on the Kumo, that is also when you would consider it being weak is when we open and close below it. Wick through it won't necessarily constitute you weakness, just maybe a shakeout or a liquidation, something like that. Or is a touch it and
Yeah,
then
you
seriously bad?
no, I mean probably let's look at it DEFCON levels. I mean, if
Okay.
you are here, you're in DEFCON. What is the worst one or five?
I think it's the other way around. Five, you're okay. One, you. But
Okay, so right
that's how
now
the
let's say
movie
we
said it. I don't know.
okay. So let's say this is DEFCON five. So Bitcoin is just
Okay.
moving sideways, but everything is good. So if we bounce from the Kumo, we would be at DEFCON four.
Mm,
So you are okay. Even if we get into the Kumo and bounce from it, it's still around DEFCON two, DEFCON four, DEFCON three. If we
yeah.
break under the Kumo, then
Then
that's
you got
more
problem.
serious. Yeah,
Mm,
so that's definitely telling you, okay, there's something here going on. So you gotta be careful. You gotta manage your risk. You gotta adapt accordingly to that. So basically, that's what it is. But when we're choppy, you gotta be careful with those fake signals because you see here on the 1 hour it happened yesterday. So you have a very nice bull trend here on the 1 hour. It went up, 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 up. Then we breached the Kumo, we went under. The Tenkan was pointing down. The Kijun was pointing down. The Chico went under the Kumo. We got this red cloud. So in terms of trend, like a sensitive trader would be, okay, let me short here because we got all of the signals and this is about to go down. And out of nowhere, we get this push from basically 70 to 75. So there are definitely invalidations and trickery and choppiness. So it's the context you get on Ichimoku on all of the time frames that is telling you a story. I always tell students that. I mean, if you are on the weekly and you see something, and then you go to the 4 hour and you see something, then you gotta find the context among the two in order to make the right decision. Because all of the time frames are telling you a story, and they need to be cohesive. I mean, you cannot be like entirely like, okay, this is bullish, this is bearish. It's probably a black and white way to look at it. That's why the human component it's so important. I was talking yesterday about a student who wants to put together an AI tool for waves and
Yeah.
particles, and like 80% of it is probably okay with AI, but then there's a human component, the one that makes the decision. Today is still, yeah, I mean, there's some, let's say, I don't know, let's say intuition and experience that you cannot teach AI yet, but it's
Correct.
not mathematical. It's not from a language. So that context is what we look with Ichimoku. So, for example, here in the monthly, it's bullish. There are some, concerning signs, which could be this having a bearish cross here. But you can see the Kumo is fine. I mean, you have a very strong level at 70K. It's flat, which means it's a strong support, which you can see here on the price action is reflecting that. And then here the Kumo is just pointing upwards again. So even though this dump was so aggressive, the indications on the monthly are still bullish and are still safe, because we can have a bearish ticket cross here, and then price can chop around for a month or a year, and then we can have a bullish cross again, and price can continue the bull trend. So this is what we try to find with Ichimoku, a nice confluence across all time frames.
Yeah, I have to agree with you exactly on that thing. And I mean, I've been saying to everybody here, relief rally 80K, relief rally 80K, but this is not a bull market yet. So treat it as a relief
No,
rally,
no,
but don't start thinking, okay, now we're going to go 150, because it's not there yet. There's a lot that needs to happen.
there's time. Pride needs time always. Whenever you get a big dump, a big impulse, pride needs time to find that equilibrium again in order either to continue or reverse the trend. But you get early indications. That's one of the cool things about probably the system, waves and particles, that you try to find those early indications to get ahead of the trend. But the one thing that I want to comment about was yesterday. I was hanging around on Twitter most of the day because I was working on my long-term charts, and I hung around like three different spaces, and I was reading comments. And one thing that really, you know, made me curious, or made me feel better about being, feeling okay with the positivity of Bitcoin right now, was that every single person I heard or commented or anywhere or whatever is just waiting to short. And in my humble opinion, that's a recipe for
Yeah,
being
disaster.
surprised. I mean,
Mm.
it's just, it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter. No one, I guarantee you, no one I heard talking about Bitcoin was like, yeah, this could be the early indication of a nice bull trend. Or I'm not talking about stating the bottom is in, because that's ridiculous. No one know what's going to happen. But no one was like, let's see where Bitcoin goes and what can happen. Every single person I heard talking about was like, yeah, I'm gonna short 80. I'm gonna short 83. I'm waiting to short 88. I'm waiting to short 90. I'm waiting to short. So whatever happens with this impulse, every single person I heard talking about Bitcoin is just waiting to open a short. So I'm very, and I'm getting possibly quite some bullishness between April and June. So that was interesting to me, and it's something I'm looking forward to see what's going to happen in the next couple months. because I think it could be interesting, to be honest.
And that lines up too, Joe, because I mean, look at all that room we have to move. Really, it's like when I look at Ichimoku like that, and that giant gap between the Kumo and like the price action that we're at now, like where the price is, I think that gives time for price to wiggle about here and like kind
Mm,
of vibe, if anything. And obviously that red cloud is just going to grow larger and larger on the weekly, especially. But I could easily see us pumping to somewhere like 85, 90K, before getting smacked down, just based on that chart. Like that,
yeah,
just
man.
based on like hitting that red Kumo and then saying, nope, nope, never mind. You know,
I mean, technically, it can happen. I mean, easily you can see all the signs. The thing is, like, people go crazy and overthink, trying to find certainty and know what's going to happen, or at least claim what's going to happen to cash out the cloud afterwards. But at the end of the day, it's just a game of patience and letting things flow. It's just about
hmm
that. I mean, you just
look
mark your
look at that
levels,
previous
you
leg, by the
long
way. Sorry to cut you off. I was gonna say, look at the previous move
this one.
down. If you go back to like where that started, right there, to the
Hmm.
beginning of that chop range that we formed on the last chop range. Yeah,
This
that
one.
right there. If you measure out where we started that choppy range to where it
Hmm.
fell at the end, it's almost
Hmm.
the same amount of days that we're at now on the current range that we're in now. It's pretty interesting.
Like from here
So
to
like so
here.
like right before like right before we chopped, like right before we went down there, and then like if you measure it out, it's almost exactly the
Yeah.
same. I measured from like the red candlestick from the previous leg down, two leg
Yep.
downs ago, to that new one, that last one we had, and then I measured that all the way to where we're at now, and it was like the same amount of days, and I was like, oh damn, we're gonna get see this a
Yeah. Yeah.
repeat.
Yeah. Well, are you on my screen? Can you see my screen?
Yeah, yeah, I can see your
Yeah.
screen.
Okay, perfect. It's not by chance that the price moves like this. Look at this. So you get this, and you get this, and then you get this, and then you get this. So this is a sign exactly like that. So basically, it's just a psychological component. I mean, you get a first instance, and then you replicate that over and over until people are conditioned. So there, these accumulations and these distributions, they're almost always identical, and they're designed specifically. I mean, not by someone, but mathematically, it's just human behavior. So they're designed precisely to do that, to trick people. That's why it's such an important. It's so important to be disciplined and to have patience, because I mean, you're conditioned. So price goes up, goes up, goes up. So everyone buys here because they're conditioned to think that this is going to repeat again, this is going to repeat again, this is going to repeat again, and then you get a big dump, and then they start to find to replicate this range on this range, and then it goes on until the mind is conditioned again, and you don't ever think we're going to have another accumulation, but you're going to just keep having distributions, and price is going to go to zero. So the real edge is to truly understand and know your trend, to know when what has happened in the past is going to stop, and it's going to turn into something else like this, or the opposite way if you are coming from a downtrend. So when does it really, the price changes from distribution down, distribution down, distribution, and then there's a big question mark here. Are we going to reverse the trend, or we're going to repeat the pattern? And that's a real edge. And most people think, the I mean, as humans, psychologically, we tend to think this is going to repeat over and over and over because we work in to recognize those patterns. So that's why trying to dissect and understand the hidden clues, the subtle signals, is so important, because that's what's going to tell you early whether this is going to shift the trend or not. And the signs are always there, always, every single time. That's why people talk about them in hindsight. And very few people can actually get ahead of those uh, little hidden cues that are going to tell you, yeah, the trend is reversing. And that's what make trading so difficult. But I mean, it is what it is. It's how we think.
Yeah.
It And the thing is with what you're saying is it creates a sense of safety once you've done that pattern recognition thinking, and that people only trade when it feels safe for them. And sometimes that's where the real edge is to look for where the safety is and trade the opposite. Because what feels safe right now brings you right back to what you said in the beginning. It feels safe to short Bitcoin. Now's the
Yeah,
worst time to
exactly.
short.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
market just opened, by the
And
way.
then you
New
get
York just
stubborn,
happened.
and then you get stubborn, and then you get stubborn over and over and over and over. I have I don't think I ever shared this before. I have a really cool it's gonna be quick because I feel like I'm talking and talking and talking.
No, you're
So
fine.
um
You're good, buddy.
when
Go.
Bitcoin
The market's
was,
just opened.
oh, there you go. We're gonna take a look at that in a second. So
Yeah,
when
get some movement
Bitcoin
on Bitcoin here. Ooh,
is going up,
just getting a little
when
bit of
we can
movement on it.
had the bottom in 2018, I was able to long the very bottom, 3,300. It was on my Twitter. Like I'm long in here with all I have, 33. So after that long, we had this massive pump to 5K, and I clearly remember I made like 30 bitcoins on BitMEX from one Bitcoin, and I was like, oh my god, I'm such a crack, I'm the best. So I was 100% certain this was going to correct down to retest a broken level here. So I
I did the
started to
same.
short. I started to short 5K, and for 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks, I just kept getting stopped and stopped over and over and over, and I was so stubborn to short this because I mean we're coming from 20K to 3K, then we move to 5K, and we're like, and I'm like, yeah, we gotta correct a little bit in order to load again whatever the balance, whatever bullshit you feed to your head to support your bias. And
Yeah.
it's crazy because I started with one Bitcoin here and I made 30 Bitcoins. So by the time I was able to flip my mind and truly go like, okay, I'm gonna long here, I only had 2 Bitcoins left. So I lost 28 Bitcoins trying to short this move here until I changed my mind. So and it only took just it only took just a little bit of patience and just following through, managing risk and not shorting strength. And look at what happened. No one expected that move from 3K to 13K in a few weeks. And that's what happened. But I'm gonna let you guys do the talk and and keep going with this.
No, no, no. I think the market's just hoping we just have that first initial chop on Bitcoin right now. I
Yeah.
will quickly bring up my screen and switch us over to this side.
Nasdaq's doing the same thing too. I mean, like it's
Yes.
just there's no real clear direction to take here. It's just kind of like if you want to try to gamble on the chop and like buy low, sell high, a buy low kind of thing in terms of shorting, you can here. Like I can see that happening, but I just want to see a clear move. I want to see a clear breakout here on these shorter time frames before I get to before I figure out if I'm gonna scalp long or scalp short Bitcoin in the Nasdaq.
Yeah, for me, I'm looking at these highs. I want to see whether the price accepts trading here, closes below this, or whether this is just a shakeout just to take these bulls out of the table, off the table, and then rotate it
Yeah.
from there. So there's gonna be a
Yeah.
little bit of time before I take a trade, probably 30 minutes from now only
Yeah,
before.
same. I mean, again, like there's like this, we're still in this London and Asia range. And if you look at the price action during London and Asia, it was just going up, down, up, down, up, down, like just nice little chop there. So I don't trust this. I don't trust these green wicks that we're seeing right now.
I see we've lost Joe, or he's disconnected. Maybe he can hear us.
Yeah, see that too on the
Um,
5 minute. Look at that on Bitcoin. It's ranging. Like we had this nice red wick. I don't trust that though. Typically, you'd see people like, "Oh, time to short, time to short." It just
just
opened
let it be.
open lower. It's
Just
just
let it
wait.
be.
Yeah, just wait.
I'll switch on the scalper tool, and because we're in the US side, I'm going to go for 4.5 as a volume filter, just to kind of look at where the whales and what is happening right now. And you can see what we have right now is there's a lot of interest to short the market. There's a lot of volume being pushed into this candle right now, but there's zero follow through right now. So if we do not close, and this is just that typical everybody wants to short, it just takes them out and then potentially will push a little bit higher. So yeah, we'll wait and see for that. I want to see if Joe is back. Joe, you removed your camera, so now I can't add you back to the stream. You're still sharing your screen. You're still there, but yeah, like I say, his device disconnected, or his camera disconnected, or his mic or something went wrong. But yeah, your charts, Will, what do you have for us?
All right, let me just open these bad boys up since I'm not even in a position really fast.
So here you guys can see we closed below this level. So we're accepting that this is not support right now at the moment. So the argument is that I believe we're going to be sweeping some lows today. The 4-hour liquidity sweep sits here at 72.9. So we could potentially start pushing down into this range before we go on higher. And just to add to that, the point and figure chart, the play was to try and be bullish, and we do have support still living here at 73,300 thereabout. So what we have on the volatility versus time at this stage is we're just sitting here. And are we going to break through? Then this becomes a bear trend, or are we just going to be stepping out and create a demand a little bit later down the line? I don't know. So we're going to just sit and wait for that to play out. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring up your screen.
Cool. Yeah, I'm going to go over a couple things. So obviously, first off, I'll go over NASDAQ, and then I'll kind of show my charts on Bitcoin here. So for people who are unfamiliar, the left side is a 3-minute chart of the NASDAQ futures. It's MNQ micro. And then the right side is a 10-minute chart of it. I like to do both because the 10-minute gives me a lot more confirmation as to what's happening, as opposed to just looking at the 3-minute alone. I use 3-minute for entries. I look for entries on the 3-minute. I use 10-minute to figure out what's going on, what's the trend overall doing. As you can see right now, if you look on the right-hand side, we don't have a whole lot. We had this amazing move happen yesterday and the day before, like tons and tons of bullishness here. And I mean, just an insane amount of bullishness here. And this all, I'm just going to scribble it all in this area. Like just honestly, just the most amazing bullish trends there. But then right here, we have Asia session started this morning or late last night, depending on where you are in the world. And we just had, a little bit of ranging happen, went to the downside a little bit, and then we just pumped right back into London and then fell down, gave it all back up, and then just kind of ripped up again in London. And what that told me was this is going to be a very interesting session. I looked to see if there's any news today. No major news coming out today. Trump did make some I guess, announcements, or he made some comments about China today, but it wasn't really that powerful enough to move the markets. And right now, New York Open, we're doing the same exact thing. We're just kind of chilling. Granted, on the 10-minute chart, you see there's a green CBC flip here. We have EMA 9 and 20 crossing. We're above the VWAP. And so normally I would go long here. Normally I would have longed that green CBC flip in a normal trend situation and just follow the trend. The trend is your friend, right? But see, again, we're still below London high. We're still below Asia high. And it looks like we're just going to be chopping yet again, because the market's been known to do this from time to time. And so I'm just sitting on my hands. I don't have any clear directional vibes here from the market. And so it's not telling me where it wants to go. And so I'm not going to try to predict where it wants to go, guys. Predicting where it wants to go is how you lose money. Reacting to where it is going and following the trend is how you make money. So I'm gonna be doing that. There seems to be a lot of bullishness right now, just from what I'm looking at with these green candlesticks. So we'll see if we can break through London high here. We're getting really close, but I just personally, I'm probably going to stay away today. I don't feel it. I don't like this. I don't like this price action. We just broke London high. Look at that, beautiful. So if we can break Asia and we can retest, and then I may get in on a long, but we'll see. We will
see. Some serious volume entering right now. You can see there
exactly.
as well.
Yeah, it's so much volume, dude. Yeah, that's
which
why I
one?
like NASDAQ so much. NASDAQ.
On the NASDAQ.
Yeah, this is the NASDAQ futures. There's just so much freaking volume on this thing. So liquid.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, but again, I'm just not going to be touching it too much. Just based on my scalping indicators here, they tell me to go long, but I'm not interested in this chop. I want to see some actual clear direction form. So I'm going to wait and see what happens. And now we'll look at Bitcoin with these indicators. So I do a couple of things with Bitcoin and other assets too. I do use Ichimoku just like Joe. I use it for long-term trend analysis, kind of figuring out where we're at, where we're going, get a kind of overall vibe check on the market. But when I'm like scalping or day trading, I typically resort to these indicators just to get those quick moves in. And on Bitcoin, it's kind of the same story. Like, granted, we had a bit more action on the Asia session here with Bitcoin on the 10-minute deal on the right hand side, but we since trended down, pumped up in the London session, broke out a London high there, and now we have Bitcoin kind of just meandering about. Granted, we had this red CBC flip happen, broke right through EMA 9 and 20 and VWAP, and so basically just tore through all of that, basically telling us to go short here. But I'm just not convinced. Again, not convinced. I want to see, again, clear directional changes. And what I mean by that is I want to see a break of London low. I want to see a retest of where we're at here. I want to see a retest of price onto the EMA 9, the 20, and the VWAP on the short side here on the 10-minute chart. And if we can enter here and then bounce again, so we can just do something like this, if we can maybe make a lower move here, bounce back to the EMAs here, and then kind of continue lower, I would short there for sure. If that's what happens, but clearly it hasn't happened yet, and so I'm just gonna be kind of waiting and chilling on this one. Yeah, that's pretty much my analysis. That's pretty cut and dry for me today, but that's just because the market seems to be very cut and dry. So I'm just hanging out.
Let's talk about Trump's tweet. I've got it on the screen here, guys. So he's saying China is very happy that I am permanently opening the Strait of Hormuz. I'm doing it for them also and the world. This situation will never happen again. They have agreed not to send weapons to Iran. President Xi or what's will give me a big fat hug when I get there in a few weeks. We are working together smartly and very well. Doesn't that beat fighting? But remember, we are very good at fighting. If you have to, far better than anyone else.
China.
Yeah, China. So there we go. So that's what he's saying today. So let's see how that plays out.
That's why the market's chopping, because the tweet was like just so bad, but like optimistic in a sense.
What do you need to long, Lazak?
Oh.
What do I need to long NASDAQ? I need.
Yeah. Why are you so scared?
I'm not scared. I mean,
Go your turn then. Show us. What do we need to do to long NASDAQ now?
Who are you asking me?
I want to see us break.
Oh,
so we
just broke
very slightly. We just broke very slightly above Asia, but then we just got rejected here kind of on the 3-minute. So if we can break above Asia and then hold, like if we can break above Asia high, retest, or even just like make a move down and like hold that high, then I'd be comfortable longing. I'd be completely comfortable longing this, going to all-time highs. But I just, again, I don't like it. I don't like this price action. Like yesterday was so much easier. Look at this. Look at yesterday's 3-minute chart, dude. So much easier. Look, Asia was nothing but chop, and then we had a clean break above in London, and then just kept going, dude. And I just ran with this. I just ran with this move. I was like, dude, look at this. Like, it's a clear uptrend. We broke out of Asia high. We break out of London high, and then this beautiful retest right here happens with the EMAs right here. EMA 9 and 20, and we're above VWAP with a green CBC flip. That's my indicator telling me to go long. Of course, I'd go long there. Set my stop super tight. Bada bing, bada boom. And then you just ride it, dude. Then you just ride this thing.
Long it.
Yeah, exactly. I took profit in this area. I took a major profits in like this area up here. I had runners that I held on to though, and had my stops at break even. And so my runners that I held on to just captured all of this upside. They captured literally all of this. Man, I kept moving my stops up. Almost stopped out right here, but then kept going. And yeah, closed out very, very green yesterday on the day. Yeah, and that's just like I like to see clear directional moves. I hate this fucking for my French, this chop we're in, dude. It's just awful. Look at that. Look, it's giving it all back right now in the 3-minute. Like it's just, this could be the retest I'm hoping for, right? But I just don't know. Like
you're never gonna know, buddy.
Yeah, we bounced off Asia high here. Like again, I don't have any clear direction to go on.
Well, let's have a look at Joe's chart. Joe says he wants to go long right now. Joe, I'm bringing up your chart there.
Bitcoin's looking like it wants to go short, honestly.
We're looking at NASDAQ, right?
I'm looking at everything, yeah.
I've had NASDAQ here on the 5-minute.
Yeah.
So remember, I'm always talking from the Ichimoku perspective because, well, obviously not WP, but Ichimoku. So you have all this chop here, right? So you're avoiding all that. But right now you're getting great signals on Ichimoku because it's finally clearing all of that chop. Now you get the
I can
Chiku
see that.
out, you get the Tenkan and the Kijin out pointing upwards. You get the Kumo is green pointing upwards. So what it's probably doing here is hunting some stops and tricking people out. But I think, oh, look at
Yeah,
that.
oof. That's why. That's why I
That's
don't
that
do it.
stop squeeze with
Eh,
the.
I was about to say, as long as we stay above this Kumo, this is probably going to trend up later in the day.
I think it will trend up though, just based on what I'm looking at on your chart. Like I think that's. I mean, again, there's different ways to look at it. Is it what time frame is it on Ichimoku here?
5 minutes.
5 minutes. Yeah, and then, again, like that is something that's valid. I think that's a valid trade, especially if you're trying to scalp long here. I think that could work out for you.
This could be a good entry, yeah.
This could be a really
Yeah,
good
because
entry. Yeah.
you're buying the Kumo. You're buying the Kumo bounce. So the invalidation would be easy. It's just like the price going down again. I mean, you won't lose really anything.
Yeah, you have such a tight stop loss. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
I mean, I
And what
could
is
see
Bitcoin
myself
doing?
doing that for sure. Bitcoin is at 73,959. We've since gone below VWAP and are trending a little lower here. Let me look at Ichimoku Cloud on Bitcoin. Ichimoku Cloud. Zooming in, let's do 10-minute. Yeah, we're on the 10-minute chart on Ichimoku. We just broke through 200-week EMA, and we wicked out of the cloud on the downside.
Yeah, I'm looking at that. Yeah, it's probably going to go down because, like Rito and I were talking earlier, 72, 73. But
yeah,
that's some mighty volume we got yesterday.
yeah.
You see, we can compare this price action near this local top to Nasdaq, to whatever Nasdaq is doing on the. We were talking about on the. Was it on the weekly? Let me see.
I think so.
So Nasdaq. Let's just paste this. Go to the weekly, and we could be working on something like that, like similar to that price action. So it would be like this, like we were talking about earlier. A little bit of downside to chop that, and then in a few weeks. Ooh, look at that!
Yeah, look
By
at that, dude.
May 11th, May 11th is a major pivot for the system. So that's one of the pivots that I'm looking at right now in the future.
Dude,
So
the Nasdaq just like gobbled all of that up. It just like
it will be
it went down and just came right back up.
it would be interesting to see this chop for 3 weeks and then pump mid-May, and then dump back again to this area. That's a good, an interesting thing to keep an eye on.
If this
While
3-minute
we're
candle
here,
can, yeah, dude, if this 3-minute candle can break this red right here and hold above it, I might go long here. This might be a long. We barely touched it, too. Damn. Look at that. This is crazy, dude. Look at those candles, guys.
I told you.
Look at those fucking candles.
I told you. See how that long on the Kuma would have been money.
God, this is so wild, bro. Honestly, yeah, if I longed the Kumo, I would have got like 40 points right there. I would have been out of my position already. I would have made money.
Crazy. I mean, I'm so rusty on these time frames. It's just like I had to learn so bad to control myself and be patient about the price action that now when I go to the 5 minute, 3 minutes, I get overwhelmed with the price action.
It gets pretty bizarre, dude. It gets pretty wacky, bro. It gets pretty wacky on these time frames. I definitely, if I want like a calm day of just drinking tea or coffee and watching charts, I'm definitely looking at like the daily, the weekly, the 4 hour. Nothing crazy. But yeah, this is my go time right now.
And what about alts? What are your favorite picks right now?
My favorite picks. So I have a couple fundamental ones. I have Eat Token, obviously. I'm still in. I have
you
Algae
can't say
Token. I'm
Eat
still
Token
in
anymore, buddy. You've
What's
been
up?
e-tokening. You're not allowed to say e-token anymore.
Yeah, I was gonna say
it's
that.
Like, honestly,
and I didn't
it's a $6 million market cap, bro. It's gonna be worth like billions, probably, dude. That's why I'm like so fucking bullish on this thing.
This guy is invested in this. too much emotionally.
I said I was gonna say like, what are your favorite alts? And Wolf, don't mention E token.
I can't not, dude. Like everything's so amazing about it. Everything's so incredible
E-token
about it.
is eating all his profits because as it's going down, he's just putting more into it.
Literally, I'm probably gonna own
Yes.
like 6 figures of
Yes.
it by the end of this year. I'm
Oh my God.
putting everything on it, bro. If it goes up to $1, if I have 6 figures in it right now and it goes up to $1, I'll just fucking retire.
Okay,
Where
so let's have a look at
it's
Joe. Give us an impartial or unbiased look at ETH token. Let's see.
is this one that says 375
375
AI?
AI. That's
Yes,
correct.
375 AI. Yeah.
You're saying $1 and it is right now 2 cents?
Yeah.
Come on, brother.
It's a $6 million market cap, dude. It's nothing.
It doesn't matter. Well, it's
It,
you see, this is
oh my god,
great,
dude.
and this is a weekly. This is similar to what we could get on the for Bitcoin on the weekly right now, because this is what I'm
Got the
saying.
structure flip.
If sorry,
You've got a structure flip going on there.
what's going on here?
All right, Nasdaq wants to go long here, guys. I might go. I might open a long here. Just low risk though. Small contract size.
Okay, E token. Let's see what's going on here with E token. So, well, good luck waiting for that $1 right now. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, these upslope, it's always, I mean, upslopes, are bearish, downslopes are bullish. So, yeah, I mean, it's it looks a little bit choppy, but it's more bearish than bullish right now. Cross there, it's green here, but still, I mean, it got into the Kumo and it's weak, and the Chiku now got below the price. So, I mean, unless it starts bringing on some serious volume and some candles upwards to reverse this signal here, I think it's probably gonna go back down below the Kumo and start,
Fair point.
Maybe double bottoming or something like that. But
Mm-hmm.
definitely not a coin that I would be interested in putting a position right now, personally.
No, very fair point. Fair point.
I like. What do you like, Rudo? Alts.
Yeah, alt-wise, I'm shorting all of the alts. I've got the BNB short. I've got Solana short. I've got, except Ethereum and Bitcoin.
Those are
ones.
scalps.
No. Bigger picture, 4-hour time frame swings. The BTC we've been swinging long for forever now, and Ethereum as well. But Solana and BNB, I mean, those coins look really weak in the light of what's happening with BNB and Ethereum. I mean, they're not doing anything. So I think BNB is going to run out of steam quick enough before these alts are going to move out of my sell zone. So so we're in shorts.
What do you guys
So
think
you are in short.
of hype? By the way, I'm really bullish on hype. Hyperliquid.
What's the ticker? Oh, hi.
Hype. Yeah,
I was looking at it earlier.
I like hype a lot.
I'm still holding my longs. I longed $20 basically. So I'm still holding that one for sure. And we're getting a bullish cross right now on the Tenkan and the Kijun. So I'm still happy.
I was going to say that. Yep.
I mean, like I said, you don't short strength. So it's just eating resistances. So, I mean, with a $20 entry, there's no point in me. Have to just let this thing ride or whatever it's going to go.
We just broke pre-market high on NASDAQ.
All-time high?
Nice. Yeah, pre-market high. Pre-market high on NASDAQ. I longed it. I used small position sizing, but I went long, though. So we'll see what happens.
I like NVIDIA for some reason. I think it's going to push hard.
Always, dude. Jensen's the man.
But it's been on a reaccumulation since October, and it's actually breaking it. I mean, it's breaking it right now in the past couple of days, literally. So, I mean, if we denote this as a falling wedge, something like that, probably. I mean, you're looking at a pretty good move. in the next few weeks, days, or something like that. Especially if we consider Nasdaq and SPX making all-time highs again.
Yeah.
A potential target for this would be 230, basically. So I like it too. Talking
That
about
is
that,
a
I
really
need
good
to.
play. I'm going to take a note of that one.
Yeah, I'm long on PayPal. Terms of
PayPal, let's
stocks.
go.
Yeah, I entered a 45 a couple days ago. So that one's doing great and it's pushing hard. What else is interesting around there? Oh, there's one here, seg that I looked at last night that I think could pop too. So we have these possible double bottom here. So if it's able, which has been able to do for the past couple months to hold the Kumo, I think this one can pop too. Like Nvidia is right now. It would be like Nvidia earlier. So look at that. Yeah, so something like that. Could be trying to pull off this a similar move. Ticker is SAG. So I like
SAG.
that. CS. Let me see again. CEG.
CEG. Okay.
Yeah.
You just take a note of that.
Yeah, those are some of the positions that I'm looking at. Alts, I like. Well, you just said you're short, but on the daily, I'm actually on the opposite side of them. They're just on the 4 hour, like you said. They're showing just too many good signs.
I'm looking at a couple of alts that I've been name dropping for forever on the spaces. So the first one is Zama. I want you to have a look at Zama real quick. Z
With
or
that
ZAMA.
Summer.
ZA.
one?
ZA.
Oh, Zama. Okay.
Z-A.
ZAMA. There you go.
Z-A-M-A.
That
Okay,
was
so
a nice
now
book.
we've gone through a long correction phase, hard dump, and it's listed on Binance. Vitalik Buterin is backing this, as well as a few others. So there's a lot happening there. So it's got a lot of players. So I'm looking at that one. This little.
Are you waiting to
I don't
go
know.
in, or are you already in?
Yeah, I'm not already in. I'm waiting to go in. We've had a long accumulation, long sideways grind. We've had a little bit of a push now to the upside. I'm waiting for a little bit of consolidation to get myself in.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, it's not that crazy. I can see that happening.
Yeah, you
Let
can
me
see
see.
that those low liquidity spikes, if they get enough follow through, they move.
NASDAQ
Yeah, well,
trying to go high here. It's trying to rip higher.
And then the next one I'm quite bullish on is VVV.
like
Isn't that an
BS and Boy,
NFT platform?
No, not
or
BBB. VVV. There we go.
like that.
Isn't VV
Yes.
that NFT platform, that Disney NFT platform?
I don't know. I'm just looking at them from a TA point of view. I didn't do any research on fundamentals, but it does look like it's got a little character on it. So yeah.
I
I
mean,
love
none of
that
us
one.
really do research
I
on
mean, it's
fundamentals. Come on.
a more beautiful
Sometimes I
aesthetic.
do. Sometimes I don't. You know, I don't want to fall in
Exactly.
love with them like you. You know, I don't want to start saying "eat token."
It moved
Yeah,
too
I
much for
understand.
me
I understand.
What are you
to make
saying,
a
Joe?
bet. I mean, it's looking good, but it just moved too much for me to pay attention to this. I hate to pay attention to such moves, but I mean, it's looking good. It's looking great. It's everything
If
I want.
I'm looking at it on the higher time frame, so as soon as I start moving it to the daily, it's still early. I mean, we've only had we've made a new higher high. That's all. You know, and what do? You long strength. It's showing you strength there. So you know, as soon as you go smaller time frame, you could feel like maybe the move is over. But we know these things can keep on running indefinitely and start going much higher. So we've got strong bearish divergence, but at no stage have we deleted any hidden bullish divergence. So this thing has legs to go if Bitcoin wants to stay in the 70 and slow grind itself to 80.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I
Then
mean,
the
it's
flip side of this coin that I'm looking at is Lab. So Lab has already now finished its run, in my opinion, and I'm looking to short the sucker.
yeah, well, definitely looks like it. Yeah, absolutely. No doubt. I would probably look for shorts around perhaps this area.
Hmm.
So certainly, I'm gonna put this one on my notes too. So if this is able to push and then get a rejection or a weakness there, I will definitely short that one. Absolutely.
And
That's a good
then
one.
one that I've got waiting for that I'm thinking is maybe early, like a VVV or Zama, is a Sentient. SENT.
SENE.
Yeah, you had it right. You could write the whole name Sentient or just SENT. Cent. USDT.
Okay.
So there
Full
you go.
send.
Okay.
Full send.
Full send.
Full
So
send.
look at where we are
Nasdaq.
there. So it's right at the bottom. It's holding a support level there, just waiting for that magic to enter. Then I think this one's maybe there.
This is more into my line. I like this one better because it hasn't moved.
I know
we
you
have
like to buy them right there at the bottom.
we have the resistance here on the Kijun, but I mean it's yeah, it's definitely showing signs of a bottom here for sure, and it's a very easy invalidation because the invalidation would be the scandal, but the daily needs the 4 hour needs a little bit more time, but we can anticipate that. So you see this probably because of this red cloud. There's probably going to be a little bit more chop. Maybe it goes like that. Maybe it goes like that. But once the cloud turns green and it starts pointing upwards, I think it would be sensitive to buy any retest of the Kumo, which would be basically the same level we have right now with all the chop. And
Correct.
that
No two
and
prices
we
are
can,
created equal. I'd rather buy the same price at a better time than buying it right now, hoping.
there you go. You got it. But I like it a lot. Let me just put a note on this one.
And then validity you should like as well, because I think this is my last of the place. So that's VAL or Val.
Where's Val? Where's
She's
Val,
not
by
here
the way?
today. Right there at the top, Val. Look at that one. Zoom out a little bit. Go to the daily time frame, and you'll see.
Yeah.
I think this has got a very low market cap as well, because it's got a lot of, those low
You can
liquidity
tell.
spike scam weeks to the top. But once
Yeah,
this
you
thing
can tell.
starts flipping around again, then you're going to have very little resistance. And I think then
What the hell
you're
is
going to
that
get a couple
volume?
of multipliers. Look at that volume.
But that's crazy. That's weird. Yeah, that's certainly a low liquidity.
Yeah.
But
No.
yeah,
No way.
what?
So it's an alternative to your EAT token, because I've got EAT, Val, all these in a little group there together. I'm watching your EAT, buddy. I'm going to get in on EAT, but I want to try and buy a good low.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Mm.
We're up on the Nasdaq position, by the way. We set stop loss to break even. Took profits off the table, and now we're just letting runners run.
Oh, you already took your trade there, yeah, man.
Yeah,
Quiet
I mean, it
man,
moved
just
25 points
man of
pretty
action.
quickly. It moved 25 points pretty quickly. Here, let me see if I can show you guys.
Bitcoin for me is
You know
still in
what's
the
a
range,
chart?
so I'm not touching it.
A chart that we need to pay attention to is total tree, because I think that's what all of the alts are pointing towards. So we've been basically on a range since February. Come on, that's 2 months and a half, and we are getting signs of a possible bull trend on the small time frame. I mean, 4 hour, 1 day. So I think it would be insensitive to ignore that. That's
So you're
just my
looking at a
take right
total 3 and you're saying bullish.
now. Yeah.
Well, I can buy the idea that, we're testing the bottom of a range, and if something's range bound, we should go to the mid of the range.
I mean, it's a very simple predicament. So we have this resistance, which is an obvious one, right? It's
I'm going to bring up
Draw
your
that one
screen.
here. So that's the red. That's the resistance. It's obvious that was a previous support, and we broke that. So we've been on accumulation, like I said, for 2 months and a half, right? So we are
Due a
we
little
can
bit of that.
we're getting bull signs. So it would be logical to think that if this follows through, which so far it has been holding the Kumo for the last week or so, it can move upwards to that one. And that's a hefty 100 billion to the market, to the all market cap. I mean, from 420 to 520, I mean, I'll take it. I think this is definitely a chart that we shouldn't ignore right
Are
now.
you looking at the total 3 or which total are you
Total
looking at?
three, total 3 ES, which is total 3 without the stable coins.
Okay. I've got a different, yeah, I've got stable coins in my market caps at 700 billion. Just thought.
Yeah, I can't. This is
Wow.
going to break up.
Dude,
What?
wow, NASDAQ is just trying to even keep pushing higher. This is crazy.
I told you, pussy.
Yeah, I took a position. What are you talking about? I'm like,
Oh,
pussy.
you did.
I
No, I'm
went
kidding.
long. I went long. I'm up, dude.
You went up at 25,800, right?
I went 25 points on the initial take profit, and now I've set, yeah. So we just hit my TP on my last SL, my stop loss, I should say. So I moved my stop loss up as price action was going up, and so I'm up for the day, but not much. Like I said, it's very little. I used a small position size because of the volatility in the market.
So if you
But
look at this is a beautiful example of Ichimoku. Remember when we started the stream, I was talking about, yeah, we got all the chop and we're finally getting the signs, which is a Kumo getting wider, the Tenkan and the Kiyon were out, pointing upwards, the Chico was out. All of that is showing resolution and it's telling you this price is going to go up. We just got one candle to stop everyone. And then after that happens, then you get the upside that
wiped them out. Yeah.
Ichimoku was telling you what's going to happen. So this is a great example of that. Because it's following through with the signals that we got with Ichimoku.
Ichimoku scalping. I love it. Let's go.
Well, you know what? I always say to the students when I started like back in 2015, 2016, studying really hard Ichimoku, since obviously I didn't have the time to wait for every weekly candle to close and show me what was going to happen. I used to study Ichimoku on the 1 minute and the 5 minute, because that will show you all of the iterations the cloud, the Tenkan, the Kiyin, and the Chico can have in a very short time frame. So I used to, I was studying the Ichimoku behavior like on the 5 minute, and the 3 minute, and the 1 minute every single day, like I don't know, for 18 hours a day, like for 2 years. And that's what really helped me understand the indicator way better. Yes, on the small time frames you get more chop and more fake signals, but you really get the grasp of how Ichimoku guides you towards the future of the price action.
That's why I like Ichimoku so much. I mean, personally, I like it because, again, it's clean cut, simple, especially when you understand it. It can be very simple. It gives you that forward-looking projection like you just talked about.
Okay, let's see what's going on here. Stupid NASDAQ is taking the liquidity of Bitcoin. Come on, man.
Yeah, exactly. I had the same thought, actually. I was like, Bitcoin's not even doing shit right now.
Oh, my God.
Bitcoin's just chilling.
I'm gonna leave you guys talking for a couple minutes. I'll be right back.
I need to make a coffee too, damn. Oh,
That's actually what I'm doing. I'm getting coffee, going to the
I don't
bathroom.
have any coffee here right now. I'm all out of coffee. I need more.
What? Are you crazy?
Bring me some coffee, Joe. Bring me some coffee.
I'll be right up. I'll be right up.
Coffee, Joe.
Just need 5 hours driving up there.
I got you. I'll be in Miami in May, by the way. We should link up.
Oh, so absolutely. I'll be here. I'm happy to host you.
Look at that, dude. Joe's too nice.
He is too nice. I need to be in Miami as well soon. Get hosted.
Get hosted. Get wined and dined.
That's the one. Let's see. Hype will pump from Crypto God NC. He says he can't. He's got a meeting at the moment that he's stuck in. that's running late, so he'll be joining us shortly probably. And Jerry is saying make that a double. Okay, so what are we doing here? Liquidity sweep? Are we going to hold support? Big question for Bitcoin here on the 5-minute time frame.
NASDAQ looks like it's wanting to continue this run here. A big thing I'm looking at, let me just zoom out my chart so you can actually see them so they're not bunched up. If you want to share my screen.
I'm on my
So
way.
big thing I'm looking at here is like one, we have that green CBC flip on the 10-minute. We have the EMA 9 and the 20 spreading out, which is good. This is very bullish. And then we had this massive red candlestick just try to come down to the EMA, and it failed. And so this next green candlestick, it stands to reason to me that it will probably continue bullish, especially if it closes. It's a new candlestick. If it closes above here, if this full body closes above this red full body, the previous one, I think we're going to continue going higher on this. If you zoom in at the 3 minutes, kind of telling you the same story. Granted, it's not perfect. So the 3 minutes telling you, hey, listen, red CBC flip here. And so it's telling, hey, listen, we might be going short here. But we went inside in between the 9 and the 20 here and bounced out. And so that tells me we still have a lot of bullish momentum. And that bullshit, this might continue ripping higher. I mean, that's because the thing I'm looking for a true flip of trend here is I need to see the EMA 9 and the 20 cross to the downside. Like I need these two lines to meet. Let me just circle them. I need these two lines to meet and then for them to cross. So they crossed back here. If you look right here, they were tight. They crossed back here, and then we had that beautiful green CBC flip with that green candlestick on the 10-minute. And so that would have been a great place to go long. Granted, we closed above VWAP. Like everything looked really good right there to go long. And if you did, you would have been, in the money there. Granted, that one scam candlestick would have probably knocked you out of your trade, unless your stop loss was, set accordingly, like to much lower there. But yeah, you'd be up tremendously right now if you bought in right there. You'd be up almost 100 points on your trade. That's crazy.
Yeah, those little scam wicks. That's what makes trading sometimes so spiteful. It's just how people position themselves. It's not normally indicative of anything other than just people in the exchange. It couldn't go there if there wasn't stops there. Simple as that.
Yeah. So I'm out of the trade right now. I scalped for some profit. I'm just kind of waiting though. I'm gonna wait and see what happens. The reason I scalped is because I don't trust this market right now. I don't trust these charts. These scam wicks right here were very indicative of that. And we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. If it continues longer, I'll go long again. If we can pivot down to these EMAs here and they hold and we just wick right back up, similar to what happened yesterday. If you want to zoom out to here, like back here, it just kept retesting this over and over, and then it tried to fake you out right here. But the 20 held very well. That's that yellow line held extremely well, and it just kept going. So it's like, why wouldn't I just wait for that to happen again? Just tell me what to do.
Just be patient, yeah.
Exactly, yeah, because if I buy right here, granted, could we go higher? Of course, that's always possible and likely going to happen. But I'd rather wait for a retest of the EMAs because it's going to happen eventually. Like the EMAs are going to catch up eventually. And then they'll tell me what to do. The EMAs will say, hey, listen, you should probably consider going short here. Or, hey, this could be a good entry, and there you go.
Just give it time. That's the best solution. So I got a question here from Dennis, the fitness. Okay, he joined late. Where were you, Dennis? Come on. And so what's the consensus? We go up. So at the moment with the NASDAQ, we're going up. You can see there. Bitcoin, we're just waiting. We're kind of trapped in the lateral range. You can clearly see there on Williams' chart. Asia market chop. You had London chop, and now you're still sitting within that with the US market. So there's no clear direction to trade just yet. Now, we do these things live on a Wednesday, and although we want to give you a trade and take something, sometimes there's just nothing there. We could just throw money in the water if we want to. But for me at this stage, I'm just waiting. So I'm waiting for liquidity to see something, and then maybe excite the market to get aggression back in to get us out of this range.
So what's really interesting about Bitcoin here, Ruda, is that I'm looking at Bitcoin right now on the 10-minute on the right-hand side here, and it's like you have this red CBC flip, and then we break through VWAP, and now look at this. The EMAs are crossing right here, and this is on the 10-minute. And so this tells me, hey, you might want to go short, especially if we can retest again and then get a red candle after this one, after this 10-minute candle here. I mean, I think that this is possibly a good short play. We'll see what happens though. I'm gonna be keeping my eye on Bitcoin for sure.
Yeah, I'm going to quickly
Nasdaq's
show you.
ripping higher. Look at that.
It's going. There it's going.
There it is. Look, just like I said, guys, clockwork. Literally, just like I said. Look, you get the green flip right here.
If being
it just
right
bounces
can
off
make
the
you
EMA
money.
9 perfectly. Like, and this is incredible, dude. It's just gonna rip higher. Look at that. Wow, bam.
Yeah, what's wrong with Bitcoin? Come on, man. Now it's starting to show some light.
Exactly. See, it's mimicking right there. I love watching this kind of confluence between the two. It's like mimicking all that bullish momentum. And see, look at that. You're kind of getting faked out right there by those EMAs crossing, which is why I combined everything, guys. I look at the EMAs crossing, I look at the VWAP, and I look at CBC flip. And look at that. If this 10-minute candle on Bitcoin closes with a green CBC flip and we're above the EMAs and above VWAP, this is probably a good spot to long. We'll have to wait and see, though. Have to wait and see.
So in short, what I'm looking at and how I'm going about the same analysis. Daily time frame, what we've seen now, and let me just switch this thing. I'm going to just switch the indicators off. Once we have an axis, a divergence that happens within the market, higher high, lower high on the RSI, that kind of thing, you create an axis. And typically price will revolve around that until we break out of the said supply zone. So every time you get to that zone, you look for supply, but also what you do is you look for, between these points, hidden bearish divergence. It's just a simple way to kind of confirm whether you want to be using the supply wave to trade or not. And then when we break out, obviously we go to the upside. So these are all the bearish supply waves that I've got drawn out. So once you start breaking through it, you're deleting the divergence and it changes the character of the market. So where we are right now on the daily time frame, we've had this long bearish run right now. And the area that I'm looking for where the statistical short would be is sitting between 81 and 78. You guys know this by now. We know this. So the play would be to try and wait for price to get to this area before we short again. And at that stage, we will then create a new supply array. But now the character has changed. Bitcoin will then, in that case, if that short sticks, either bounce and start becoming bullish or get range bound trapped again, because now we have the makings of an accumulation or distribution pattern again on the higher time frame. And you can look at the previous high and low as a good example. Here you were trending from the all-time high, you're going down, down, down. You start breaking the supply, and then you break the supply again, and then you start accumulating. And you're still making lower lows, given every time you break through the supply. But it just shows you how the bear momentum, if you were to draw trend lines, this is now just looking at it from a trend. So once that happens, you can see how, it's starting to slowly but surely break through these trend lines. And people would normally draw trend lines like this. You see now the trend line's broken, and then you will draw a new trend line and vice versa. But it starts stepping through those levels. And where we are right now, we've seen with the weekly a massive, or the daily, a massive sell-off really fast. And now the anticipation was to go short at these levels, maybe for a lower low, then 30,000. Didn't play. We're above this level. So now I want to be bullish and wait for these zones before I go short. Now, what do I have to help me navigate my bias? I've set up my point and figure to kind of, specifically for Bitcoin's price action. And if I bring that over and we have a look at where we are right now, the point and figure doesn't measure price over a specific time. It measures volatility. A normal candle is price, and it's just fixed. The candle has a start time and an end date, and then that's it. Then we move on to the next candle, and it just records what is happening. This works different. It starts off with where we are right now, and if price doesn't go past the specific extreme, it just stays there. Time stands still. This thing stands still. So when you have a lateral range or price being within a tight range, the way it would be looking like this. It just sits there. And days could go past this. And where we are right now, we're sitting in that same kind of scenario. So whether we're going to be breaking down again, that would be really bad for Bitcoin. my bet is we're going to be breaking to the upside. So I'm betting that that's going to be the case. We've got the demand there as well, and we're just basically figuring it out. So maybe it's going to be US late tonight. Maybe it's only going to be Thursday night, but I have the feeling that we're going to be pushing to the upside with this point and figure analysis.
Bitcoin 10-minute chart trying to close above VWAP here. We'll see what happens. It's got 6 seconds left. It's below now.
Okay, well, let's have a look at the 4 hour real quick before we go there. And what the 4 hours got, we've got about an hour and a half left on that. And this is the last candle, the candle that makes the higher high 50%. That's the buy. So we're sitting in that situation. So I'll only turn bearish if we lose this.
If we turn bullish on the Tenkan and the Kijun on the 1 hour, I'm going all in.
I'm going to do the same. I'm getting ready for the long. I just want to make sure that I'm only going to be bearish again if we fall below this level. 72.9, if we confirm, if we have a candle that does this and we start closing there, then I will switch. Then we're going to probably, on this trend line, then we're going to be doing something like this. And I've seen this happen in the past where you break through and then you're bouncing like that. Then that's the possibility. But for now, my eyes are to the sky. This thing's going to go up.
I like that 1 hour play
you.
there, Joe. I like that 1 hour Ichimoku play. I do like that a lot. I would do the same thing. I'm looking at it right now.
So amuse me and let's just play it a little bit. So if you go to Bitcoin on the, I don't know, let's say weekly. 1 second.
Yes, weekly.
What happens if we are at 104K in June or May?
Okay, let me clean up this brush strokes. So we're playing a hypothetical. So we're going to be 114.
Yeah, 104, 404, 105, around that area. Yeah, 100.
Okay. By when?
In May, June.
Of next year. Or May, June, this month?
This month, next month.
So you're saying keeping this kind of move, I mean...
Yes. How would you feel about that?
Well, I'll be in a long by then, hopefully. And I will feel okay about that.
Yes, I think I'm going long here.
If you're doing that, if you're bringing that into the equation, for me, the way that I'll be looking at this then, and let me just switch off all the other stuff. The screen is messy. Let's do this. Take that off, and let's just take.
Rudo is the GOAT.
He is the GOAT, dude.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's so refreshing to talk to someone that it's open to. I mean, analyze, take a look, and revisit ideas, even when it's might be against their position or their bias or their opinion, with such a calm state. Because I mean, I literally know less than 5 people that can do that. And that's why he's such a great trader. I mean, it's what brings it's a real edge on anyone, to be honest.
You have to be open to all the possibilities because let's be honest, nobody knows. TI is a risk management tool, it's not a prediction tool.
And that's why everyone fails at trading. It's so funny. I mean, like I said, I was yesterday at the Spaces, and I there's this guy, I don't remember his name, to be honest, because I would say I don't mind, but he has a huge following. And he was saying, like, there's like a million reasons to short Bitcoin in 0, 1, 0 to long it. So mark my words, Bitcoin will be whatever, $40,000-$50,000 in no time. And I'm like, you cannot talk like that as a trader. And there was some guy trying to, to counter trade or to build an argument, to be honest, to build a position or a thesis around the opposite. He was like, no, that's impossible, because if you blah 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 the past and the cycle before that and this, so that's not gonna happen. Watch Bitcoin go down to 50K. And I'm like, that's just, I mean, how can you be a trader and be like that? It's just so, I mean.
All right, guys.
The funny thing is, the answer that I have to those guys that say it's gonna do that. I mean, we had the same on the Twitter Spaces in the beginning when when everybody was saying you need to go long, we were sitting at 116, 118 and said, no, you need a short. So
Yeah.
how can you say this? The guy basically took offense from me saying, no, this is a shorting market, not a long market. The one thing that I have to say, and this is what I read when I read Mark Douglas's book, you know, that Trading in the Zone.
Mm-hmm.
And he said he coached a guy. Let me just get this to a decent time frame before I lose my thought. Just want to see what William is on about. He wants to go long. So he was coaching. He was
I went
coaching.
long. I'm in a long position right now.
There you
pushed
go.
it.
That's my
There
boy.
you go.
High risk, very low, smaller position size than what I'm normally doing. But we crossed the VWAP. We have clear cross of the EMA 9 to 20, and the 10-minute looks amazing. The 3-minute looks amazing. Everything looks so good on Bitcoin right
There you
now,
go.
and we're getting this amazing bullish momentum on this candlestick right now. Holy shit!
You gotta
Yeah,
you gotta risk
Pros
it to get the
above it.
biscuit.
Yeah,
exactly.
you got to risk it to get the biscuit. I love it. so to get to the story about technical analysis. So he's teaching this guy, and this guy was brilliant at TA, at doing the technical analysis itself. But the problem that he had was converting that into money for himself. So he was trading, lost all his money. He borrowed money from family, lost it. So he basically told the guy, go work for a brokerage firm. So he went and worked for a trade house, and he's doing the analysis. And, you know, I'm now going to try and tell the story the way Mark said it. But basically, he was saying that the guy went to him, and as he was doing his TA, he said that if we look at beans or coffee today, there's no way that this is going to fall below this support. So we had the daily low. He drew the lines out. He did the whole TA, the whole spiel that it can only go up from here. And so the owner of the trade company was looking to him in his TA, and this is a guy that made his living trading on the floors and the pit floors, you know, where the guy's screaming at the guys, give me this, give me that, you know, physically trading the thing based on sentiment and based on what the feeling is for price, as opposed to TA. And he said, you know what I think about your technical analysis, if I can be honest? And the guy said, no. And he said, I'll show you. And he picks up the phone right before the daily closes. And as price is at this support level where he is saying it's not going to go higher. So let's hypothetical say this is now Bitcoin. It's not going to go higher. And he picked up the phone to the floor and he said, buy 1 million Bitcoin in this instance. And the candle does this. And the same then when Mark Douglas's story, it's at support, the beans. And he said, open up, and he said, sell 1 million of this. And price just went, oops. And that is technical analysis for you. There's absolutely no control what anybody's going to do right now. You don't have any control over it. You try and take these lines and give meaning to them, but they have no meaning. It's just, where do I measure my own risk? So here's a risk management. If you want to do Ichimoku risk management tool, that's all you have. You can just manage the risk.
Well, unless you do waves and particles. You need to do the time of waves and particles. I'm just kidding.
There you go.
Same my time analysis as well. So I'm looking at this. I don't want to go long just yet, Will, because we are not confirming, the auction is not confirming that it wants to pay more than 74 right now for Bitcoin. So once we get that, then I would go long. For now, this is just taking out the shorts.
We will see, sir. We will see. We will see. NASDAQ's still ripping up, guys. That's also why I entered Bitcoins, because the NASDAQ's just like climbing, bro. Oh my god, it's insane.
Your one of your guys are saying, any thoughts on gold and silver? He says, Matoshi masterclass. And then any thoughts on gold and silver? He's muted right now, so I'm talking to him as he's probably drinking coffee or tending to his baby. So we get to you now, buddy. Don't worry. Okay, so where did you go long?
Where was my entry?
I'm going to bring up your screen.
Yeah, I went long at 70, about 74 to 200 here. I think my entry price was a little bit higher actually than that.
74, 200.
Yeah, 200. Yeah, this right here. We passed VWAP, so we wicked above VWAP. We opened, and we just started pushing above VWAP. All of the CDC were here on the right hand side, and I followed the EMA crossing here and the fact that we're above VWAP. I said, why not? Yeah, why not go long? So 24 200. again, small position size thing. And my first TP is going to be somewhere. I honestly haven't even set my first TP. Small position size things. Normally, if I go large, I'll get tight TPs. But I know my stop loss is invalidation at these EMAs here. So 74-100 would be my stop loss. So we're well above my RR right now. My 1-to-1 RR.
So look at the William.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the 1 hour Ichi. Told you more signs.
Yeah, let's go to Ichi. I got my quick draw set up for Ichi. Here we go.
Okay, 1 hour. So you can see here. So this is going to be able to pull off the Nasdaq. So you see, Chico gets under the price, and we get a bearish tick across here.
Mm-hmm.
But price, it doesn't follow through. So right now it's just moving sideways, but the cloud is still green and it's still wide. So that's what I was saying. So if the price keeps moving sideways, and you can see the Tenkan here is curling up a little bit. So if we keep moving sideways, that's going to allow the Chico to get released from the price, and it's going to allow the Kijun to keep moving sideways and the Tenkan to go up. So
I'm going to bring up your screen. I want to see what you're pointing at. So I'm just bringing up your screen. Sorry, we were looking at Will's screen.
Okay.
My screen's
not
not
again.
Obviously.
I'm sorry, buddy.
No, it's okay. So I'm going to say it again really quick. So we have a green cloud here. You see, it's not giving up to the bearishness of the bearish ticket cross. By the way, bearish ticket crosses above the Kumo are weak. Bullish ticket crosses below the Kumo are weak crosses. So you always had to keep that in mind. So you got the cloud. The cloud here is fairly stable still, hasn't given up to the bearishness of the cross here, and price is moving sideways. So if we can move in sideways or even push up a little bit, it's going to allow the Chico to get off the price and cross above again. And the Tenkan's curling up again. It keeps pushing. So that's a few things are going to happen. So this is going to allow the Kumo to open up to the upside again. And it's still, well, it is green still. And that's also going to give time for the Tenkan and the Kijun to have another bullish cross above the Kumo. So if you get all of those signs on the opposite spectrum, having a bullish TK cross above the Kumo is a very strong sign, because it means you get a bearish signal, but the bearish just couldn't handle the buy pressure. So, and then you will get everything you want. You will get the price above the Kumo. You will get a bullish ticket cross. You will get a green cloud pointing upwards, and the Chico will be above the price. And that's why I said, if we get a bullish ticket cross, I'm going to go all in, because the outcome of that is just going to be another push to the upside. Even if it's a short one or a small one, it's just going to push upwards. Even if it corrects after that, it's just going to push upwards. But so you can long here like Wolf did, or you can just wait to see if the strength is there by getting a new bullish ticket cross above the Kumo.
Yeah, exactly. Spot
on. How long will that TK cross happen? I mean, understand the size of the candle determines it, but statistically, trend-wise, with the structure and the momentum that we've seen in the previous consolidations, can you give us?
You can calculate because this one lags 9 periods and this one lags a little bit more. So I mean, I don't bother counting that because I just let things flow. But a few more candles, like let's say we have one. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 candles were going down, and we're almost at that point when price started going up. So probably in the next couple candles, the Tenkan is gonna start going up because the price went up. Yeah. So you can measure by that. 9 candles, you can see that we started going up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. So in a couple more candles, the Tenkan is gonna start matching what the price did here. So it's just gonna start trending upwards. And once it meets the Kijun here, if it keeps moving sideways, it's gonna allow for the cross that we're looking for, or we're hoping for, actually. But until that happens, the Kijun is still resistance here. So that's why I said it's probably, if you want confirmation, if you would if you want less risk, less reward, but also less risk, then it will be sensitive just to wait like 2 to 4 hours to see what's going to happen in this area.
Mhm.
My dogs are thinking it's time to go play. So we're running a stream now later than normal. They, out of the blue, decided to come attack me now and say, come on, let's go play.
They're like, Dad, come on, let's go.
It's time. It's time.
Dude, the Nasdaq is still running up, guys. We hit 26,150 on MMQ. This is insane right now. This is wild.
Your BTC move is not doing that well, though.
Exactly. No, it's not. It's not
It
mimicking.
didn't close. It didn't. The auction didn't accept 74,400 as a fair price. You can see it now. It's pulling back.
Did you close your long on Nasdaq?
Yeah. I took profit already. I'm out. I'm out.
Come on, wait.
Yeah. It went down to my freaking my trailing stop, dude. So I mean, now all I can do is just wait for another entry. Like, I'm gonna wait for the market to chill out, wait for lunchtime to hit, wait for the traders to kind of chill out, let the brief slowdown to happen. We'll see the EMAs catch up, and then when the EMAs catch up, we'll find more entries. That's what we did yesterday. So
Joe,
That's a
while we're on this,
Yep.
talk me through that. But let's go look at the S&P 500.
SPX.
Yeah, SPX.
SPX.
Yes.
Look at that, dude.
So look at
About to
that
hit all-
gap to
all-time
the
highs.
upside. Now,
About to hit
before you
all-time
start,
highs.
you've got
This one?
this. Now, yes, now open the US 30 and then come back to this. And then have a look at the US 30 quickly. And then come back to the S&P 500.
To the what?
And then the US 30, the Dow Jones.
This one, USDT.
No, US 30.
US 30.
Oh, US 30.
US 30. I need to learn
Okay.
to say with the right accent. Okay, now look at the US
I'm not the
30
right person.
lagging the
Uh-huh.
S&P 500. S&P 500 is
Okay.
almost pushing all-time highs. US 30 is diverging from it. Okay, so what's your take on the S&P 500?
My take on the S&P 500 is I can see that. Yeah.
So
We're
massive
there,
divergence between the two.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. I'll tell you, because I haven't looked at the US 30 in a while, but I can talk about the SPX. So what I like about this are two things. First of all, it bounced from a major waves and particles level, which was a 6,400. Shared that on Twitter a couple of weeks ago, and then it reset everything. We try to have a cross here, but I mean, this is very strong. So, like I said, I do think this is obviously going to break all-time high one more time. I mean, it's impossible. It's impossible for it not to do it at this point. But the thing is, how long it can go. Like I said, it's a very strong. All the metrics are good. We got the correction. We hinted for months because the Tenkan was really apart from the Kijun, but now you can see they're together, and that means equilibrium. Whenever the Tenkan and the Kijun are together, that always means equilibrium. And when the price is in equilibrium, it's just gonna keep trending in the direction it is trending. Right now, it is trending upwards, and it's been trending upwards. So, in my opinion, I will look at this just as fundamental correction from the events in the past few months, and just let it flow. I mean, it's not the time to call for a top or whatever. It's just gonna about letting the price do what it needs to do, because none of the time frames you see here, what I was talking about, it's about to pull a ticket cross on the 3-day, for example, a bullish ticket cross above the Kumo, and if that happens, we're probably going to get another green Kumo here. So it's certainly there at the point when you just can't keep going. And the daily is getting better now. Now the Chico is out, price is out, Kumo turned green and is pointing upwards. We're just lagging the Tenkan and the Kijun because of this massive spike we got. But I mean, obviously, we always need to be mindful about such price behavior, because this can easily put a double top. But I mean, that's
Adam and Eve, for Eve and Adam kind of thing. You know, where you've got the round top,
Yeah.
the Eve pattern, and the Adam is the sharp up and then sharp down.
Yeah, but it's too early to be calling that. I mean, I would like to
Yeah,
see
you
some
can't do it now.
because before I call that, and right now there's no weakness. Right now it's just strong. Let me see something here. Yeah, it's just strong. Mm.
Yeah, I just got stopped
I
out my
think
Bitcoin trade.
you got
Told
stopped.
you, no confirmation on that.
Yeah, crazy, bro. Too early. Too early, guys. You're right.
Let me see.
That's all right. There's always another trade. Don't worry, buddy.
Oh, I'm not worried about it. Again, small risk. It wasn't much that was risking there, so it was just like kind of just fucking around, seeing if I could, get some profit on that.
Yeah, like I said, yeah, it's gonna chop for a little bit more time. The good thing is, like, you see it broke here the Tenkan, and now it's bouncing from it. So as long as it stays within this area right here, and I'm about to draw, I think there's a chance, as long as it stays around this area, there's a chance it starts moving in the right direction. I mean, if it fails to hold that thing and it falls into the Kuma, then, like I said, we will get into DEFCON 4, DEFCON 3.
Yeah, then
But
it's going to get bad. But for now, it does look not too bad. I have to say
yeah,
myself. We just need to give it
for
some
now,
time. I think that's all. It just needs to sort itself out.
yeah,
Mhm.
chopping people.
There's too many opinions close grouped. They're going to get tired, and I think the range is going to shrink, and then it's probably at that stage where you're going to get the next explosive move.
Exactly. It's all about that patience, right?
Yeah. So I'm looking at the S&P 500. We basically, we're $15 away from all-time high.
Wow, that's crazy. That's remarkable. Actually, it's just
Yeah, it's actually
like
insane to think
redonkulous.
about.
We're literally almost there.
yes. Well, today's Tuesday or Wednesday?
Wednesday.
Interesting. All these gaps, man, and I haven't.
No, that's not healthy. That's not a healthy price action to the upside, though. That's the one concern that I have. And when it's this fast, the saying is it doesn't last. So I don't know what to make of this. I was going short at around 6,700, and then got my ass handed to me with a nice stop.
Well, that's and
which
that's
was
exactly
a reasonable
why,
trade to take.
Yeah,
but
and that's exactly why you don't long such moves, but you long 6,400. So, the more you wait, the more you risk. It's like I was telling the students, like with Bitcoin when we were longing at 62, and between 62 and 65, we took up a lot of longs. So I told them, listen, it's risk, it's scary because you're long in a support, and then you always think it's going to keep breaking supports after such a dump. But the most important aspect of any trade is going to be the entry. It's just going to give you the peace of mind that you need to either, ride it in the proper way or be stuck. That's why I was telling you earlier, I hate to get into things that have moved that much or moved a lot, because it's impossible. The mental exhaustion into thinking, am I buying a level that is going to retrace? Am I buying a top? Am I buying something that is going to wreck me? It's just too high. So, I'd rather just buy as low as I can and let things flow.
It can be exceptionally taxing. While I have you here, I've got RF2C2YB. He says Mitoshi Masterclass, and obviously he's saying thoughts, gold and silver. So let's maybe steer the conversation to gold and silver, because they were our metals, were our love child for a while, and now they've fallen out of favor.
To who?
No. For price action, I mean, gold and silver took a nosedive, and
gold. Yeah, of course.
So if you're looking at gold, I mean, I'm looking at it on the weekly time frame, and I don't want to see gold do what the S&P 500 did to my short, but they're both in sell zones for me.
Well, gold is one of those trades that it's exactly what I was talking about like 2 minutes ago. It's like either you get early or when you have such a parabolic move, I mean, it's just you're looking for problems. If you want to think the goal is just gonna keep pushing upwards, because it can, but the risk to reward ratio is not there. I mean, it was there when it was $1,000, not at
Yeah, it's not
$5,000.
there right now. I mean, you've got weak
So
candles where it goes $1,000 up in price. That's not sustainable, healthy price action.
no, not at all, not at all. I mean, you want to see a crazy chart? Look at Nike.
Okay, let me go and look at it. I haven't seen Nike chart.
He's called it Nike.
Yeah, you will go crazy.
Oh, we say Nike actually in South Africa. We don't say Nike.
Yeah, we say Nike where I am too.
Yeah.
But look at
and
the monthly,
Porsche.
for example.
It's not Porsche. It's Porsche.
Porsche. Yeah.
It's Porsche.
Isn't it just Porsche? Yeah, it's I mean, is it Porsche? I don't know if it's Porsche.
It is.
Yeah, some
Porsche.
people say so.
Yeah.
I've got a Porsche.
That's weird. That's weird to me.
It's just Porsche.
Come on. So yeah, that's the inevitable fate of any parabolic run. I mean, people think that's not going to happen, but it happens every single time. I'm talking about the Nike chart.
Yeah,
if you are looking at it.
Greed doesn't change, fear doesn't change, guys, and that's why there's this repetitive nature. So if you can just make peace with the emotional market cycle, that it actually exists, and understand that sometimes to put it into context is harder than it looks when you look at the little Wall Street cheat sheet image. But there's a massive blow. Tesla had the same thing 4 years ago when it went to 100 all the way back down. You know, emotional market cycle. You know, it's now gone up so much, but I mean, there's the blow off. There you have it. There's the blow off. It went back from 400 back to $100. I mean, that's crazy. And then fundamentals kick in, the growth of the company, and the crazy subsides, and now it's back at that point. But it got there too fast.
Yeah, it happened. It happened too with Amazon, like many years ago. People just
So you're gonna have to logarithmic that to see it.
yeah, look.
Same with the Apple.
Look at that.
Yeah, there you have it.
It went to $5, and then it went to 25 cents. So
that was roughly probably in the .com crash, isn't it?
Yeah. But it's in the same thing happened again in 2021. So 190, it went down to 82, and then it's been going up. So it's just like you said, it's just the sentiment, the psychology of the chart.
That's not. It's never going to change. Greed's not changing. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I tell people always not to overthink the charts. It's just, I mean, it is what it is.
Give TA
It is what it is.
It deserves, but don't put too much in it, guys. It's a mental game.
And it's funny because the psychology kicks in. A few days ago, I posted a chart. I don't remember, on AVAX or something like CRV, and then this guy said like, it's never ever going to be again all-time high. It's never going to be, not in 5 years, not ever. So forget about that trash.
I love that. I love when people just know.
I mean, when you're saying that, yeah, when you're saying that, and the thing is at the very, very bottom, and that's literally your best risk to reward ratio. I mean, it's just dumb, because it's like, come on, man. I mean, you don't know, and literally, it is at the best place you can have it. You can have to buy, and you just got to play the market as it is.
This is why I say it is so hard. I'm going to bring up my screen real quick, yeah? This is why when I sold the top, look at the hesitation in my voice, how scared I was because I did that. So my bull market prediction top from 15,000 was 125, and that's where I started selling all my spot. And I'm going to stick to that. So hopefully this comment doesn't age badly. But as you guys know, and that's it. Hopefully it doesn't age badly.
Hopefully it doesn't age badly, guys. It won't.
There's never certainty in this. So it didn't age badly. We're okay. So yeah. Well, what's your next trade, buddy?
I'm waiting for like a movement here on the NASDAQ, honestly, man. It's like, I just want this 10-minute to come down. I want this 10-minute desperate to come out, but this doesn't want to. Like, so I'm just kind of sitting on my hands. Um, yeah, just hanging out, dude. I hate to be
Just
boring. I'm sorry, but that's just how it is.
Yeah, today is a horrible trading US session. I have to admit it as well. I was really excited, waited for it. I got a good night rest, but I mean, I'm gonna quickly bring up my chart, and just there it is. This is why I didn't go long for that same reason. I mean, you flip the indicators though, but my strategy, my system says this needs to be accepted, so we need to close there. If we close there, we would have been off to the races. And yeah, it's just not, it just doesn't want to do that at this moment. So it's just chopping, it's just needing more liquidity. And it means the price or the forces, as Joe's Ichimoku also showed, it's still balanced. The amount of supply is equal to the amount of demand. So price can't move. This needs to be unbalanced. And then we would want to see aggression. We don't have any aggression that's winning. Here you've had aggression. That's the blue dot. The bulls were aggressive. They bought this. They defended their low, their demand zone. That's a good sign. That's what generated the move. But now the bears did the exact same thing. They defended, albeit they did get a squeeze. So I'm leaning to the bull side still. Nothing has changed. But I believe that we'll probably take this chop and turn it into something smaller, more meaningful. And then from that point on, break out probably. So it's not ready. Bitcoin's just not ready. The trade isn't there for me. As much as I want to take a trade today, it's just not there. And actually what I did, just before our session opened, I did an update to the buddy indicator. So just to give you a quick visual indication of how it works, the trend analysis side of it, just for, remember, this is your trade buddy. It's not telling, it's suggesting what is happening in the market. It gives you a bit of a clue what you need to be looking at, especially if you're new to trading. So I updated it and I changed a few things. So here it is. When it starts overriding the candles blue, is typically you look for longs and you look for support to be tested. So by that time, this line would be there, and you stay in the move for as long as it's viable, or the trend holds, or whatever the case might be. And so if we look at this from a 4-hour point of view, we're still bullish. There's nothing changing there. The momentum analysis says that it's healthy bull momentum, just like Joe's Ichimoku and everything. But as soon as you start diving into the smaller time frame, so the 1-hour time frame, we turned bullish there, and we're still okay. But the momentum is showing weak bullish continuation. And price has now created the resistance level, and it's below that. So that's the problem that we have. So 75,482 is a massive area of resistance. We're falling below that. That's questionable. So that's why I don't just want to FOMO in on the long. And as soon as we go into the 15-minute, the picture starts changing. From yesterday, we went long there, and we were trying to go long those 2 times as well in the trade group in my Discord. And from that point onwards, it just said, I was fighting my own bloody indicator, for that matter. The momentum clearly is that to be bearish. So 3 a.m. I was up this morning. I gave some updates in the Discord just to prove that I was up at 3 a.m. I'll quickly show you guys. There's the timestamp of me in the morning. Let's see, where's my 3 a.m.? 1:50 a.m. I was doing charting. So that's how much Bitcoin keeps me awake at night. And this was around 3. So I was looking at this and I think,
that's how much Bitcoin keeps me awake at night. Good night, everyone.
Bitcoin is not. It's not.
That's the story. That's the story of how Bitcoin kept me awake all these.
Yeah,
all
that's
these
how
years.
it keeps me awake. I'm haunted by the next trade. I have to be in it. But in any case, that said, looking at where we are right now, I mean, you've got nothing. It's just it tells you to be patient on the bear side of things. Higher time frame suggests we need to be bullish, and unless we break any critical structures like this, all I can do is wait, because this is there's no reason to this. It's just liquidity being taken out on either sides. No reason or right. And now we wait. But what I like about the interesting thing is once we start seeing some outlier volume entering on each whatever side and they start winning, that's when I'm going to start. And it might be that this is the low or the support. But at this stage, it's choppy market, price hunting, stop orders. Late orders will be taken out. So if you're late to the move, trying to go long there or go short there, you're going to get wrecked. Wait for this thing. That's basically me.
Don't get wrecked, people.
Well,
Yeah,
the first
again,
rule
just
of
chilling,
trading is
just chilling
don't
and
lose money.
waiting. Yeah, well, I think the first rule of trading, honestly, is just it's surviving. Like if I always tell people too, if they're just getting into trading, and just real quick too, guys, I am gonna have to leave here in just a minute. I got another live stream I got to attend, but before I go, I'll say this: the whole game is survival. If you can trade an account, let's say you start with $1,000 account, and you're actively trading like every other day or maybe every week, and you end the year at $1,000. Congratulations! Like seriously, that's actually good. Like
You said it
blow.
right. You said it right. People think the game is about to make money, and it's not really about that. The game of trading is about preserving capital. That's it. Simple as that.
Yeah, literally. It's like, I mean, obviously we want to make money. That is the main goal. But like your primary skill you should learn is survival. Like you want to understand, hey, I need to manage my risk, manage my portfolio size, manage my position sizing, manage my entries. And if you can end the year at break even, you've done that successfully, in my opinion. If you're trading every week or every other day, I think you've done that successfully if you can end the year break even. So just have that be your goal. And end the year, just don't lose any money, and then go from there.
Exactly.
That's what I would do. Like that's exactly what I would do. But yeah, I got to get going, guys. Got to hop on this live stream. Guys, thank you so much. Make sure you're following Rudo. Make sure you're subscribing to the channel. All the viewers on YouTube, subscribe to the Crypto EMC channel. Rudo's doing all these chart analyses completely for free all the time, giving you so much alpha. Definitely check it out. Check out what Joe Mitoshi's doing also on his Twitter page. That is Crypto Says. It's app Crypto Says. You have that little ticker there. He's posting a ton of alpha always on Waves and Particles, Ichimoku. I love Ichimoku. Joe got me on Ichimoku. It's a great trading system. I love it. I love the indicator. So definitely check it out, guys. And make sure you're following me as well. I post a lot of dependent content, passive income stuff, ways to grow your money while you're sleeping. But also some trading alpha from time to time. I'm trying to work on that, trying to get better at that. So make sure you're following me. Make sure you're following Wolf Crypto as well for all your crypto updates. Sorry for all the shilling there. I had to self-shill all of you guys for you. It's just what I do as a host all the time. But
You did it
everyone,
wrong.
thank you so
didn't
much.
do it in your radio voice.
I didn't do it in my radio voice. What do you mean? No, but thank you guys so much. I'm going to get going now. But
Cheers,
yeah,
buddy.
I'll see you guys on tomorrow's show. Thank you.
Thanks. Well, awesome to have you, buddy. Cheers, man. So
Bye.
this is something I've been keeping an eye on, Joe. You probably need to run as well. So I'm going to just grab you for your attention for another minute.
That.
The Robbins Cup.
Yeah.
So
What do you have there?
I've been listening to some of these guys, their explanation about how they trade and where they rank and how they rank and how they get to these levels. Now, if you think about this, just for the audience, this is the best this year so far is up 8x. The guy that's fifth has only doubled his account. And that's setting that realistic trade expectations where people tend to screw themselves out. Because they think if you're a good trader, you need to make 1,000% every day. And that's the emotional thing. So reading up and listening to these guys' testimonials, how they trade and how they fall, they get into the top 10 and then they fall out of it, and how they have to navigate this. So it makes for an interesting thing. So Google these names, go listen to it. A lot of these guys, they give testimonials of how they're trading or they share their stuff.
What did you get from one of them that really struck your ear?
For me, the big thing is two things. The one is they do a hell of a lot of back testing still. So the argument is, let me do this. So the argument is, Joe, what they're saying is, if you're a basketball player, you don't just go from one play to the next play. Meaning, if you're a trader, you don't just take trades. After you've taken the trade, say, this is my time that I'm going to trade. Thereafter, they're done. They actually back test. Keep on honing their skill. Like a trader, like a player would actually go to home now and go practice at his home court, go practice with his coaches, and so that he's ready for the next game. So they do back testing. So once the trade is done, they don't sit and stare at the charts like we tend to think it happens. You wait for the next trade. They start replaying and keep on doing that to keep their eyes sharp, to keep them in there. So that is the one thing that I picked up. And then the other thing is, like we always need to be in, it's risk management. Their success ratio, their win ratio is 40 to 60%. Never below that, never above that. It doesn't exist anything above that. So their key is how they manage the losses. Be wrong fast, be right for long. And that's the hardest thing to do for us. When you're in a winner, immediately you want to close the thing because I've made something back. But when you're in a loser, you'll sit and sweat for hours. And they don't do that. And it's a cliche. We've said it many times and repeated many times. But go and listen to their testimonials. Not everybody has it, but take these names and go Google them. And you'll see YouTube videos where they talk. And I think Andrea Madreda, one of those that I looked at. And so, yeah, that's actually my bucket list for next year. I actually want to sign up for this next year and trade the Robbins Cup and see how I rank.
I like it a lot. That's a great insight because actually, that's something that I truly learned recently. By nature, I tend to be very impatient and passionate about the things that I do. So obviously, that reflects from time to time in my trading. But one of the things that I learned, I haven't had a major loss probably in the past 5 years. And it's not because I nail every single prediction that I make. It's just because I learned a really simple concept, which is cutting my losses early. Obviously, when you get into a trade and you have a plan and you have a strategy and everything is cool and dandy, when things go against you, you start to be stubborn. You're like, okay, is my stop loss too tight? Is my stop loss too wide? And obviously, it is a consequence of not knowing to manage your risk accordingly. But regardless of how much risk you're taking on any trade, one thing that truly upped my game in a major way was to learn to let go of a failed setup and cut my losses early. I mean, actually, it happened to me recently, and I like a month ago or something. I noticed a setup, and I was about to. I was in a small profit, and I saw the chart, and I didn't quite like what I was looking at. But then I was like, well, it's just gonna be some chopped, and then it's gonna go up. And I wanted to close at least half or 75% of the position, just to be safe. But I didn't. I trust and I hope for it
No.
to go my way. So I went out. I did a couple of things. I went to the store. I had some lunch. When I came back, I was like $12,000 negative.
Gone. Mm.
So it was just and it still happened to me, and it will happen as long as I don't go follow through with that idea of cutting losses fast. Now, if your stop don't go your way, just cut it out right away. I mean, as a rule, I don't risk more than 2% of any trade. So that's the max that I'm allowing myself to lose. So if I'm close to 1 or 2% of the money that I'm risking, I will just close it right away. It doesn't matter what happens. It doesn't matter if it goes up afterwards, if it keeps going
I don't
down.
care. Yeah, just cut
I
it.
don't care. And when I started to do that, dude, my portfolio started to go up like crazy. And it's such a mindset. It's such a change of mindset. But I would say, like you just said, it's one of the biggest things that you can do for your portfolio.
You were talking when we started the stream about, when Bitcoin was here. I want to bring up this chart real quick. Way back. So this is now when you made your 30 Bitcoin from 1 Bitcoin. So we're sitting right here. And so I was buying XRP here at this low because XRP was pumping as this was happening. So I was thinking, I am a genius. Same thing. So we didn't know each other at that stage, but at that stage, I was thinking I'm a genius. And then shortly after, you were thinking you're a genius. And the thing about that hell-bentness on a specific target or believing something, this is where my biggest punishment happened. So I was long this as well. And the nice thing is with this move, we had, if you go into the 4-hour time frame, so I'm just going to hit the replay, guys. If everyone you want to go and have a look something on a smaller time frame, TradingView won't allow you to go back that far. But if you replay to that zone and then switch onto the lower time frames, it will actually load. There's the 1 minute candles for that specific price action. So that's the way that you get to the smaller candles further back in time.
I don't know that.
So looking at this thing from the 4-hour, yeah, it's a nice little back testing. I do a lot of back testing, Ack.
I like that.
If you look at this now, so now we're at that $10,000 level. What I'm going to do though is just switch off the whale positions. Okay. Filter it to just analyst mode, so you don't have all those volume outliers. So here's the move. And then look at this, and then look at the emotional market cycle, and you say that looks perfectly like that as well. But now this is how I basically screwed myself on holding that belief. So we were sitting here, and I was buying in on Bitcoin at these highs as well, and I was buying and adding. At that stage I was still DCAing, still not that good a trader, is it? And it's doing well. And when we reach these highs and pushing back, I sold, thinking, okay, great, now I'm a genius. All right. Then I bought. And then it went down. Okay. And this is now where my belief got shaken, because I bought here thinking that I got the up end of the range, and now I'm buying the bottom end of the range, just like any of these lows. Okay. And now it did this. And all of a sudden, I lost confidence. So you know what happened? It started rallying. When it was here, I sold, got out everything. Started rallying. I bought back there. Now I'm buying the support. What does it do? Oops, it goes down low. I sell again. So now I've had all this run. So I'm thinking I'm a genius. I'm buying, I'm losing. Okay. Then I'm selling, and then I'm buying again. Then I'm buying again, and then I'm losing again. And I did that there as well. Bought there, sold there. So now I'm close to break even. All this move, I'm basically deleting it at each and every move, because look, now it's high again. Okay, it's gonna go, and then I'm doing all the wrong things, and that's that confidence basically just taken out. So when this happened, Joe, so now I'm in this whole move, in this roller coaster move. By the time we got to 10,000, this level, I made up my mind that all I need to do is take me out of the equation and just hold. Because if I held, I would have been better off than trying to buy the high and the low.
Yeah, you're trying to, okay, what do I need to change in my mind to make it better? To stop with this bullshit.
Yes, because this yo-yo is going to kill me. So all I should have done is just held. And look at what it's doing now. So now that I've changed my mind and say, all I need to do is just hold. Now it's starting to trend bearish. So now I'm thinking to myself, listen, there's something wrong with you. I'm starting to put a little sticker on the camera now, because it feels like somebody's watching me at this stage. And I started studying Wyckoff. So up to this point, I was Elliott Wave. Elliott Wave is the way to go. So that was the first thing I studied. Then I started studying Wyckoff. So this was the China drop. I can remember this so clearly. And
like
then
it was yesterday.
Sorry, this was the China bans crypto. I think it's this one. China bans crypto. Yeah. And then it rallies all the way back up. But at this stage, I started Wyckoffing, accumulation phase. So now I marked this out. I'm saying to myself, okay, there's the upper end of the range. There's the lower end of the range. Secondary test, trend within range, Wyckoff schematic number 1. Okay, there we go. Sign of strength. Let's go long. And then let's hit the play button, and I'm going to speed this up. So it just gets a little bit faster. Let's go long. And now this is what happens. And I'm thinking to myself, damn it. I need to rethink this. And for a period in time, I basically just gave up. And then this happened.
And then that happened.
Yes. And I remember I was looking at it there. Maybe I must buy. I was looking at it there. Maybe I must buy. Looking at it there. Maybe I must buy. And now I'm basically so exhausted trying to figure out what this thing's going to do next, chasing it, that I'm out. Now, I started here, guys. Sold a property. I had about $18,000 that I wanted to use to trade. Here, I was down to about $6,000. So now I'm starting to sweat because this is horrible. And what happens after this, and this is the worst thing that I did to myself. What happened after this, and I was running, and it's coming down, and I'm learning. I've now gone through a couple of more books, and now I understand divergences. So what you have here is the lower low, the RSI starting to do the opposite. I'm doing the whole Wyckoff spiel again, and I'm saying, okay, right, let's give it a little bit of time and see what happens. And finally, the market starts moving into my favor. So I think I had like 12,000 ETH by the time we got to these levels over here, and I had like it looked really good in my account. And then that, sorry, not there. It looked really good. And then I was on a WhatsApp group with a couple of traders. And this is where that belief came in. I sold. We had divergence. It was clear that this is the top. We had a range. We broke back under the range. You're not doing that when you go up. It's simple. You know, when you started talking about the ranges and then you break out another range, when it's up, it doesn't fall below these levels. It never does it. So it's actually so simple. You don't have to overcomplicate things. And so at this stage, I'm listening to these guys and I'm out. I sold everything, made a killing. Now I'm thinking I'm good. And right here was a Saturday. I was reading all their WhatsApp messages. So these guys are saying 20,000 next and I started questioning and I think, okay, well, they've got so much conviction. And I basically deleted everything on the way back down because now I had that conviction play. It swept me out all the way down to this area. And at this stage, I was basically exhausted to a point. And that's where I learned trading. Because at this low, I spoke to my wife and actually told her, listen, I've got this. Now I understand. Because when we were here and we were doing this, I subscribed to a signal group back when I started. You know, I know nothing. So I did what the service that I'm giving and what you're giving, and I was subscribing to these guys. And they were saying, see this little gap, we're going to go fill that at some stage. Yeah. And I said, bullshit, it's never going to happen. You know, I didn't allow for time and considering patience and understanding the structures and how things flew. And at this stage, that's when it turned for me. So I had $2,400, my friend. That's all I had to my name.
Wow.
At these levels. And then obviously I started building myself up from there. Because then I understood. It just finally, I've learned where I've lost. This is where everybody loses. Wait for them to lose, then take your trade. That's the moral of the story. Because TA actually means nothing. It's risk.
Well, you learned a lesson. That's what I tell the guys. Like, TA is like 10% of your success as a trader. The other 90% is your mentality and your psychology, and that's probably that period of time. I have it on my chart too right now. It's because I have a couple of remarks too. It was probably the best university we have ever had, because I mean the pandemics, it was like the black swan of the events ever.
Correct.
So the price behavior here was just probably as crazy as anywhere could have ever had. But when I talk to the students and we're talking about time and the reality of it, and this is a little bit left field, but I'm talking to you because we're here laid back and you know, we're just trying to share what we have learned. It's that, I mean, when you study quantum physics, I have a lot. And physics, you understand that time, it's sort of an emergent dimension in the universe. So it's present because we can feel and live time. But like Einstein, demonstrated, time is relative. So what that means is that time goes faster in some places and it goes slower in other places in the universe. So, and then you have the speed of light. So in reality, in several places, the past, the present, and the future are happening at the same time. It's all related, and people don't really grasp that idea from the physics point of view and the quantum physics point of view. For example, in quantum physics, you have superposition. You have two particles interacting with each other across a space at the same time, and there's no time between their actions. So definitely, time doesn't really exist in the universe in the way that we think. So
They've proven
when
that actually by taking two identical watches and
yeah,
sending one
exactly.
up into space and bringing it back down.
Yeah,
And the one that went to space and back, because it was traveling faster, it
they have to
experienced
correct
time
that.
slower. It gained a
In the
second.
in the space station, they have to correct that
Yeah.
constantly because
Yeah.
there's like a 2 minute difference. Is the time it takes to reach the signal is like 2 minutes. So if I tell you right now it's 1:10, you're gonna get that message. It is 1:10, but it actually is 1:12 here. So they have to correct that, and there are a million ways I can demonstrate with theory and actual exercises. The time is it's relative. So when these happen, one of the things that I understood and I always explain to students is that when this candle happened, when this massive candle happened, and we miss the retest of that, that means this movement was already set in the future.
Correct.
So understand the implications of that. So this happened 2 years before, prior to that dump. And at the same time, the fact that this candle exists or, or happened in 2020 means that we needed to have this scandal in 2019. So it's all connected. That's why time is such a crazy edge in the markets. Actually, I tweeted about it recently because um, I shared this date, February 23rd, 2026, 2 years ago on Twitter. Back in 2024, I said February 23rd, 2026 is going to be a major pivot for Bitcoin. And that is actually telling you what happened here, but in the future. The reason I know
Correct.
is because of the formulas I developed and created for waves and particles. But how do I know a date is going to be important 2 years on the road? It happened to be the last bottom on this area for Bitcoin. And I didn't know that was going to happen 2 years ago, but I knew that was going to be an important date. And that tells
Yeah.
you
Whatever the structure is going to be is going to give you the clue at that stage, but at least you know
exactly.
when. It's the same with my 125 and my August issue prediction. I don't know what the
That's
structure is going to
exactly.
be, but I know that I need to take note then.
To pay attention back then, exactly. So that's what happened, and this was a huge lesson for me, and that's what I was telling you. I started to understand how my mind works and how to control my mind, not to let my mind control me, because I lost a lot of money. Like I said here, I lost like 28 bitcoins, and then I made my way through this trade. I call this dump on the date and the level perfectly months before. It was one of my biggest predictions for Bitcoin. I was when I truly started to understand, because in 2019 I said like the week of March 10th, 9th is going to be one of the most important weeks for Bitcoin, and I marked the level at 5K. So when I predicted this, I long Bitcoin there, and I said like I was a genius. But then the same thing happened here again. When price reached 12K, I started to short because I thought the price was going to go down again. And I
I
started,
thought as well, 12 going back to 1.8. I was looking at 1,800 at that stage.
yeah. And I was looking around 8, 7, or something like that. And I started to short. Thank God I had 1 year with the academy then. And one of the first students, he sat down with me one day and he told me, stop fighting the trend and stop putting your bias and
Mm.
your ideas into the price action. I mean, Bitcoin is trending. So let things flow. And we were long together from 5K, and I started losing money again, trying to short 11K. And I said, I'm not gonna repeat what I did back here
Yeah.
again, losing all of my money, all of the money that I made in this pump because I'm trying to short. At 10K, I said, you know
Just be
what?
patient.
I'm
Yeah.
just gonna stop doing this. I'm gonna open a long. I'm gonna manage my risk. Whatever happens, happens. And that was the last time in my life as a trader that I lost money. And it was not because I have forecasted all of this. It was because back then I learned to relax my mind and said, you know what, be patient, let things flow, and
Yeah.
follow the trend and stop fighting the
Simple as that.
trend. And that's what I tell people all the time today in Twitter. Just follow the trend, just go with the flow, just let things
Mhm.
evolve and do what they need to do for space on time is mathematically perfect, and it's always going to square itself up to whatever it needs to happen. That's what I don't follow news, headlines, fundamentals, or anything. It's just the math of the universe and the chart, and that's all you need to do. But like I said, like you and I said earlier, it's all about our ability to remain composed, to be patient, to stay disciplined, and to control ourselves mentally. So the TA is just going to help you have an idea of that trend and where it is going. But ultimately, is how you control your emotions and how you execute what's going to make you a great trader.
Yeah.
And
For me,
that's
the
all there
the
is to it.
hard part is learning to be uncomfortable while trading, because
Exactly.
it's
I love
actually
that.
people think it's gonna go better. It's gonna get better. It's never gonna get better. I'm still when I take
Never.
that trade, when I press that button, go long, immediately, coop anxiety. It's there. You know, you're gonna have to learn to be okay with that because it's
Hmm.
real money on the line. You're not messing around here.
That's beautiful. I love that. Yeah, it's learning to be uncomfortable. Well, actually, I just tweeted about that like a few minutes ago, when before we started
Oh,
the stream. I talk
yep.
about that's so. I love the synchronicities of the universe. I
Yeah,
said,
great minds think alike.
yeah, it's we're always looking for validation, and we
Mhm.
try to outsource that validation to make our decisions, but that weakens our internal compass. So
Yeah.
the real confidence is not certainty. It's just a willingness to act without needing that certainty and to fully own what follows, to be comfortable in the
With what for?
hardships. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the
That's all that
biggest thing
is.
is, can your system give you 20 losses in a row and you still survive? And that's a hard question I think everybody needs to ask themselves, because the scale of probabilities does not take that out of the equation, does not make that improbable. You can win 20 in a row as well, but can your system and your risk management survive something like that? Because there's edge decay. Sometimes it's just not going to work in your favor, and yeah, you have to be able to survive that.
It's funny because I'm getting a private message on Twitter, and there's this guy asking me about Ichimoku. And he says, well, I'm asking ChatGPT, and ChatGPT is telling me it's just a trend indicator. But I don't believe that at all because Hosoda did not spend 30 years to make a simple trend indicator. And that's amazing that he said that because when that's why I love Ichimoku because it aligns with what I just told you about physics and
Mm.
time. When Hosoda developed Ichimoku, he was not using like basic human behavior. The guy gathered like probably 150 people. Like he got the most intelligent and wise mathematicians in Japan. And the guy spent 30 years studying the behavior of physics and math on the chart. He started in 1932 and he published the books in 1960 with all on a single indicator that you could use to understand the behavior of the price action.
Mhm.
That's why I always tell people like Ichimoku is an indicator like nothing else you will ever find. And the reason for that is because he uses the math of that universe. He uses like it's rooted in Fibonacci. It's rooted in quantum physics theories. It's rooted in constants from physics, from traditional physics. So that's why it is so consistent and reliable. But well, that's probably a topic for another day because otherwise we're going to be stuck here for 7 hours.
Another 3 hours, 4 hours. Look, it's fun talking this. I have to say, it's always fun when you're on stream, buddy.
It,
Um,
I love it.
I really enjoy it. But yes, that's the thing about having a system that you understand, because for most people, and that's probably where the guy his shortcomings is regarding this, he's looking at the lines like you would have look at a moving average. He's looking at this as if and TA in the end of the day is only what we decide to interpret. The lines are lines,
Yep.
the cloud's the cloud. It's how you interpret, and understanding the psychology means that you can interpret what it means if a big bearish candle happens now, what it means in the context. And that is something you cannot teach that overnight. That is experience that comes with time. And also, if that happens, to not lose faith, because that's how I went from Elliott wave to Wyckoff, from Wyckoff to Gone. Then I went to price action. Then I said, I trade with no indicators. Just give me the candle and I'll be okay. And I did
Yeah,
that as well.
exactly.
And then eventually I went back and I said, okay, now that I can trade, I understand where Elliott wave was coming from. And I understand where it lives within the Wyckoff system, where the stuff lives within Gone. And now I use indicators to make just my life easier. All I'm doing, I'm just looking at this, just make it easier.
Yeah, yeah. That's
I
what
don't,
it's it's something. That's why they say you have to all learn and then relearn
yeah.
the new ways because otherwise you're just gonna be stuck on a vicious circle, doing and repeating the same. I see it with the students. I sometimes I have students. They they go to the academy, they enroll, they learn the system, and within a few weeks they're making good money, and they tend to be humble. They tend to be open. They tend to mess with it and practice with it. And then have other type of student that they have been at the academy for like 4 years, and then they're all confused. They lose money. I sometimes they even attack the academy, and it's they are relentless and they don't like to give up the old ways. So what they do is they try to put the new framework from weights and particles into the old ways, which makes it even worse. And sometimes I have students that go like, yeah, I'm long here because the price is touching the 100 EMA, and I'm like, brother, I don't use EMAs. I don't use lag indicators. And you're here, you've been trying to master Ichimoku and weights and particles for 4 years. So I mean, at least if you want to use EMAs and you're good with it and you like it, that's totally fine. But try to master what we're trying to learn here and then see how you can, add that to the things that you had before to see if they make sense, if they can coexist, or you can at least blend them in order to give you a real edge. Because otherwise, what you have is a melting pot in your head. So sometimes you're using volume, other times you're using EMA, other times you're using Ichimoku. So what you're trying to validate is your bias. You're not reading the chart actually.
Yeah. You're
You're
looking for
actually
what you want to
validating
see.
your bias. Yeah, exactly. And I noticed that not many people can read charts. That's why people rely on fractals so much. Because every time you see someone using a fractal, is because they're just trying to mimic what happened in the past into the present. But they're
Mm.
not actually reading the trend that we have in front of our faces today, which can be a completely different thing. So it's like at least do a little bit of work and try to understand the structure and the trends and what the price is telling you today. I mean, yes, you can use a fractal, you can use it to try
Then
to
you can use
understand
it.
where the
But
price
first,
might go,
Mm.
but you gotta try to read and understand what the price is telling you today more than anything else.
For me, I always say before we trade the week, when we open the trade week, I go through, I've got this trade rules as well we move in, but this is the one thing that really works for me in the sense is people used to normally say practice makes perfect, and this is for those guys, like you say, in your academy as well. They're at it every day, hard at it, but somehow it doesn't work. But the reality is practice makes permanent. And if you don't change, you basically just cement what it is in there. And that is why it's so important that you have to make sure that you practice the right stuff, be in the right, because that is what's going to happen. Working harder at it doesn't necessarily crack it. It is what you're working at. So it's an important thing. Don't cement in your bad behavior. Practice makes permanent, not perfect.
Literally. That's exactly what it is.
So, yeah. But yeah,
Talking
here we
about
are.
fractals.
We're still chopping.
I'm wondering, seems to me that some way, somehow, Bitcoin might be getting a little bit of that NASDAQ chopped it had between yesterday and today.
That could be that
So
it just needs to resolve itself first. It just broke
it's
through a
lagging.
critical level.
And I say that because I'm getting mixed signals here, for example, on the 30-minute or the 1 hour with Bitcoin. So I wouldn't be surprised if we keep chopping like that, like Nazca did between yesterday and this morning, and then we push up like Nasdaq did. So I'm going to keep an eye on this because I think this might be the case.
And you see that 73,200 level there in your fractal play, and that 72,900 that I marked out. For me, that is where the shakeout.
Yes.
It needs to take these longs out before it
It's
runs
exactly the level that you talked about earlier. You look at it, look at that. It's just 72,600. So it's perfectly there.
And look at
You
just
can see-
now. I'm just going to quickly bring up my screen. There you go. It's just now taken out these lows. So, as bullish as it looked, there it is. It's hunting where it stops. It's telling you what everybody else was expecting. That's why it's doing this.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
I'm bringing back your
exactly
screen.
that. Exactly like that. So let me see something really quick here. Let me measure really quick the 4-hour pivots. So I have, let me see. Yes, obviously. Exactly on 16th, that's tomorrow, at 4 p.m. UTC. Yeah, tomorrow at 4 p.m. UTC, we have a pivot on the 4-hour, a new cycle.
Tomorrow, 4 p.m. So we're going to be on Spaces then.
Yes, because
Well, 4 p.m.
UTC,
your time. It's 10 a.m.
No, 4 p.m. No, 4 p.m. UTC. My time, it would be 12.
Okay, 4 p.m.
noon.
UTC. I'm at 6 then, so it's 6 p.m. for me.
Yeah, so at least according to Waves and Particles, we have a new cycle on the 4-hour tomorrow at 4 p.m. UTC, which matches exactly the fractal. So certainly a price and a time in the future to pay attention to. So I'm going to mark it there. I'm going to get rid of that fractal and we'll see what happens. So with this, when you have a framework, you have a level, you have a date, or in this case on the 4-hour, you have an hour. Then all you need to do and all you need to have is a little bit of patience.
Just wait for a trade, yeah.
That's
One
all
good
you
trade
need.
does more for you than a sea of random small little chops.
Yep. Totally.
So we're looking at this price action right now, and you can see we're sweeping the liquidity. And what makes this breakout different than that one is what is happening next in 2 minutes' time. This is an auction. All that this is saying is whether people are trying to say whether this is cheap or expensive. And if you don't confirm above a certain level, the auction doesn't close there. It's not going to continue onwards. That's just the reality. Until that happens, it could be to be in the next candle that does that. You don't want to necessarily try and trust the breakout. It's the same as this dump now. This thing could get bought back up and then sit right there with a nice long wick. Then, although we swept the liquidity, we have not decided on where price wants to be. If you go and have a look at, I'm saying this now, not for you, but for the audience sake, if you go and have a look at a true breakout, what happens to price is simple. You have the upper end of the liquidity, you have the lower end of the liquidity as well, and then price will obviously chop around. But once we break through that, there's the candle that closes above this. So now we've taken out liquidity and we confirmed that we want a trend. Now you have support. That candle won't be lost because the bulls now have taken control. The balance have been removed. And that's where you can enter with a relatively tight stop. That is waiting for the right breakout at the right time. And look at where the RSI is. And this is where people, yeah, but it has to be. There's bearish divergence and this, and we're in an overbought condition. That's where indicators fail you. And that's where you need to have the knowledge to understand that this is just trading. This is bartering. This is people just trying to figure out what is fair value, okay, and trying to get the best deal. And once this
And
happens,
look at
are you going to say?
No, go for it. And
No,
once that happens,
all I want to say. Once this happens, then look at the move.
Yep. Well, look at this. Funny as it is, we have a pivot. I have a waves and particles pivot on the 4 hour tomorrow at 4, like I said, and here on the 17th at 6 a.m. we have a major forecast for a solar storm. I mean, if you look at that, look where 6 a.m. on UTC is on the solar storm.
So
which is
a lot of
right.
coincidences, if you want to say it's a coincidence. A lot of confluences.
Yeah.
We were a trader.
Yeah, and for people, what are you doing? This is a magnetic solar activity. So if you want to know what is it about in a short form, so usually when there are solar storms like this with high KP levels, it usually brings volatility to the direction of the trend. So that's why we might see something like that then. So definitely tomorrow and Friday are going to be 2 very interesting days. Let me just mark a support here that we have, Rudo and I have. That's where we want to pay attention to see if the indicators are good to load and long, being patient as the good traders that we hope to be.
There you have it. And here it is now, guys. If the trade is on now, what have we done? Irrespective now of what my buddy indicator is saying, it's blue. We've confirmed that we want to make a lower low. This means that within this candle is your entry for the short. Now, the nice thing would be to now let this candle play out. And if we can close lower again with a new lower wick, that will be the, you know, the safer version of it. Because when they do break out, it is what follows. That is what's important, guys. So you don't just want to just blindly buy. See, now the market is saying it wants to go down. Now we need, like in this, to the upside, we need the confirmation that we are not falling back in. And then once you have that, there's your play. So I am looking at this and saying the trade for me would be to wait for this thing to close a lower low then, and then I've cemented this in. And then I can probably trade this. Because if it stays like it is right now, what's going to happen is it's just going to exhaust more traders. It's just going to keep on doing this.
My God, they're asking you on the chat, when do we short bird? Look on my screen and look at that chart.
When do we short bird? Okay, I'm
what
bringing up
the hell is that? It did 10x today.
Okay.
What the
That's
hell?
a nice trade there. When do we short
Whoa.
bird?
What the hell is that? What
So
happened
that's
to
a low
order?
liquidity. All birds.
Right, there you go. A struggling shoe retailer Allbirds makes bizarre pivot from shoes to AI, and the
Okay,
stock
there you
explodes.
go.
Come on, dude. Whoa.
And
Struggling
explodes
shoe.
more than 700x.
What the hell do you go from shoes
Yep.
to AI and then the
Shoes
stock
to AI.
explode 700%? That's just freaking crazy. Whoa, my God. That's just mental.
So what
Well,
what what
because
what does
it's,
this shoes do?
yeah, exactly. The shoe is going to tell you how to walk or how to run. That's
Yeah.
just crazy, man. Well, they see. Guys, listen, Ikagi is about to transition into an AI company.
There we go. Let's
Wow.
pump that stock. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, pump the stock. Let's go.
Exactly. That's just crazy. Well, it seems like the markets is just gonna took. You just want to pump all across the board. I mean, it seems like a long season, unexpectedly for most. Right when everyone is trying to short, go
Yes.
figure.
But that's the thing. When we were at the top, we were bearish. 116, we were talking bearish stuff. Nobody liked it. Nobody likes it when you say something that doesn't follow their belief system. And that's where I went the easy way, when you're a real trader versus somebody else. Because a real trader will be open to all the possibilities because there's no
Mm-hmm.
belief system. You have to be.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as the guy, I've had guests on, and the guy is so arrogant and he's telling me this and that, I know that that's not a trader because that kind of mindset just doesn't pay. I mean, it's as simple as that.
Yeah, exactly.
Just
Well,
doesn't exist.
earlier, another person told me on Twitter, like, do you think this movement is possible and we can repeat what happened in the past again? And I said to him, the most important rule you got to have in your mind as a trader is that there's a million possibilities for a move, and every single one of them is possible given the right conditions. That's the first thing. So everything is possible always at all times. That's it.
And the thing is, news, this is what people want to make sense of something. So the first thing, I look at the bird stock that pumped. Okay, so it's AI. So now we kind of know the thing. And news can at some times be your ally because it can
Mm,
lubricate a move. It can exact because it's still emotionally driven. The AI is the narrative so there's desperate buyers buying in on something. War is a scary narrative, but think about it, like when we had the Ukraine war break out, that was partly the reason or the excuse why Bitcoin dumped the previous cycle. And this time around, Bitcoin was already at lows when the Hormuz Strait, the Iran war started. So where's the meltdown that Bitcoin, and in fact, Bitcoin's moving up. So it's how the news gets perceived. It's just a lubrication. Just like good news in a bear market keeps dumping the stock, good news in a bull market keeps pumping the stock. It's added confluences for the other people to rationalize their decisions. We should not look at it that way. We need to measure the risk, be objective, and just take it as it is.
yeah, totally.
But yeah, interesting nevertheless. So I myself still don't have a trade. So we're looking at this Bitcoin chop. You're in the cloud now. So Ichimoku wise, this 1 hour time frame, when you start entering the cloud, if we close where we are, which is 17 minutes from now on the 1 hour, what would your thoughts be? Fractal, gonna bounce edge to edge cloud, or what would you suggest the traders do? Joe, I think I've lost you there.
Yes, I was muted for a second. I don't know why. I think my AirPods are running out of battery, but I'm here. So, can you repeat that again?
I say, if you look at where we are right now, we're going to probably, within the next 17 minutes, close within the cloud. Then it turns at edge to edge. So the argument was originally we want to bounce. Closing in the cloud changes the analysis as such.
Yeah,
How would
and
you
you
go?
see, and look at the fractal, because closing inside of the cloud means that there is a strong mathematical probability that we go for the other edge of the cloud. And look at this. It's exactly what we're getting here.
So there you have it, guys. So be patient, let the market do its thing. So if you want to enter the short for Bitcoin right now, now is the good time for me. So we're closest to the invalidation.
And it actually supports again the price action of the fractal, because when the price is inside the Kumo, it is a no trade zone. It is a place when the price is a clean fight between bulls and bears, so the price can pinpoint between the edges of the Kumo until it's ready to, like you said, supply and demand is ready to break either to one side or the other side.
Yeah, now it's just going to exhaust you. It's going to keep on. You think you got the entry, and then 20 minutes later, it's right back to your entry, and then you want to sell, and it feels like you camera trading. There's somebody just looking at what buttons you press.
Exactly. But I think we're just dropping too much alpha here today.
I think so. Maybe let's call it.
Gotta go to attend, baby. So it was always a pleasure. Thank you for having me, my friend.
6 p.m. I haven't eaten anything for the whole day. I've been so busy and caught up in the charts. I actually forgot.
Damn.
So I'm
your
gonna
dogs need you.
Say that again?
Your dogs need you. They're going to get angry.
My son took them. He went playing with them. So I'm off the hook. But yes. Joe, it was awesome having you on the stream.
Thank you for the invitation, brother.
Thanks,
See you later on the week again.
Yes, we're going to chat soon. Cheers, Joe. Cheers, everybody. Make sure to go follow Joe. You know where to get him. His links are everything at the bottom of the screen. Have a lovely day. Thanks to each and every one of you guys for joining and watching. There's about 201 people joining live right now. So I want to say thanks to each and every one of you guys. Have a lovely evening. Good night. Goodbye.